worry, you can repurpose or disassemble your vouchers and imprints as materials for other skins including past releases. Regular crafting will be an opportunity to recreate the past Survivor Pass items, such as Esports items and store items that you regretted not being able to purchase before. Now for the really fun part, special crafting. If you're lucky enough to receive an artisan token through a hunter or archivist chest, you can use them to craft special skins, depending on the number of artisan tokens you have. Some all-new skins are exclusive to special crafting, so make sure to save those tokens. Well, there it is, the brand new workshop. Now go out there and get your chicken dinners looking your absolute best. And make sure to keep a lookout for special PUBG events to earn free chests and keys. See you on the Battlegrounds.
Hey PUBG friends, Matchroom here, and ESL is heavily underway with 24 teams fighting it out in the group stage. Instead of tackling just one play like we normally do, this time I feel we should maybe spread the love around, and let's take a quick look at some of the big showcase plays that have already happened. Our very first game of ESL Masters gave us a spicy ending with a never give up, never surrender mindset. We're going to kick it off over into the Sonics, out of circle, so crashing in compound over near Barnes. As they did so, they're moving into one of the few covered spots in a very sparse C7. No one in the circle is really moving, so it provides them some cover to provide against Luminosity, previously known as Shoot to Kill, and also gives them some access to some kill points as teams are going to be coming in. The good defensive position was the plan, and Sonics comes in well. Shrimsy holding up the line and picking up a few kill points for Sonics. While all the fighting was going on in the Barns, the Luminosity took a wide control over this circle. Sonics doesn't want to give it up, though, even with Luminosity having all of the cards. While it is a 3v3, Sonics is going to have to move into that brutal firing line that Luminosity just set up. Sonics knows Alo is going to be a problem, so decides to smoke him off. He uses this to step in, assuming the fact that Sonics could be coming in for a push down the smoke wall, which is a very common procedure. Sonics, though, decides to move in bulk from their cover spot. Both of these are designed distractions with the hope to fill the comms to let a sneaky mime cross the road and open up their firing angles, which does end up happening. Mixed blessings, though, as Pinta, who would be able to see Mime, sees Shrimsy instead, beat it in on him, and gets the knock. At almost the exact same time, Tiggleton is going to go down. The Sonics plan almost works with Mime having the angle onto Pinta, but can't quite get the down, and now that his position is fully revealed out in the open, Luminosity takes the victory. There are a ton of things that you can take away into your own personal games by watching competitive PUBG. A great example of that is going to be what happens whenever we catch out some extreme angles. What we've got is the stables being held down by Tilt Town immediately after defending from a team that just pushed it. And so what Extreme does is he just hops up on top of the stable, looking into the giant hole as well as some of those small cracks to see if he can get some damage into it. That harassment forces a lack of knowledge for Tilt Town on what's going to be happening, and the only reason he could do this is trust in teammates who are defending him at range, because let's be honest, sitting on top of that stable makes him a wide open target. So if you're wanting to make sure you try this at home, don't have everybody looking down and have somebody at least trying to defend you while you're up there. Next up, we can see how drive-bys can be a double-edged strat, but sometimes you don't have much choice but committing. In this case, BBB is going to get to the dip first, start unloading, but it's gonna be the Manji game. Where the problem gets really big, though, is BBB is still mostly in their vehicles, and instead of getting a drive-by, get a joust as BBB turns on them in their vehicles. Bing Bang Boom wins this with 2 members still up and 1 knocked, getting 4 kills in the exchange. The issue is all of those teams that Bing Bang Boom and Tokyo Manji gang were trying to avoid have now moved forward and still want to play. Oldest Truck is also kind of tired of this whole situation, decides to take off, leaving him with very little cover except for having to chase after it, and almost manages to get away except for the amount of firing angles that are coming after him. Yoho and Immaculate take a piece of both the 2 remaining BBB members, giving up TMG Colton a post-mortem kill as well. Okay, in the first play that we looked at, I felt like we did Mime dirty. But that's okay. We can now look into game number 4 and see where he 1v4s them. I don't even have to explain it. Just take a look. The actions speak for themselves. Our last play is going to actually be a set of plays taking place in day number 2. Match number 3 is wildcard know that they need to move cover, and they're going to hop into their UAS and make the run down to it. The issue is they come in too hot, trying to avoid the firefighter coming out from E United, bounce the Dacia, flip it over, and now what they were expecting to be their cover from E United provides them to be in a cubbyhole of death. The United takes the map. 3 teams down in about 20 seconds, and E United is presently at 13 kills in a 4v2 against Tokyo Manji Gang. It would be insane to say the fact that everything feels like it's in E United's favor. TMG has a nice hillside, but they know they are heavily outnumbered. E United Snakers on top of this has an isolated position to open up firing lines onto the duo. This denies TMG from near on any movement, now being forced right up next to the circle wall itself. Snakers reveals himself to take some shots at Colton, but it's going to be Zealot that has a great read in taking out Snakers, closing up E United's firing line and moving it into a 2v3. E United, though, still holds on to the circle. E United shifts their car to create a cover point between them and TM and have open vision at the top of TM's hill. Snakers' old position where Zealot was playing does provide some opportunity. The hilltop heavily favors E United, and Zealot does a great job of playing this low, slight decline in the hill to move out of E United's vision but get much closer than I think that they were expecting. Tokyo Manji Gang may be about peace, but not this round. As the cover goes flying, Zealot lines up a nade and drops it right on top of Reload. It bounces back into a 2v2. Following up the nade taunt, Zealot in the same breath spins back over and drops Kickstart as well. Both team players now beat in on Flood, and 5 minutes of a 2v4 come to a close in Tokyo Manji's favor. We are now halfway done with PUBG Americas 2022, but just getting things kicked off. The grand finals coming in for ESLs. We're going to take Latin America and North America, merge them back together for some great action. On top of that, don't forget, we've got PCS that's going to be following up after ESL, so action is going to abound all the way into PGC. Till then, though, I will see you on the Battleground.
That is crazy. Mine is nuts.
Potential piece of cover, and another good frag comes out. It's a 2 versus 2, and the spray makes it a 2 versus 1.
Eagle has got to hear what's coming through. Shot's not going to come out. He's going to go down. It's going to be Kickstart that spots him. Luke 12. The dream is dead.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching around the world. Welcome back to the ESL PUBG Masters Americas Day 3 of the Grand Final. My name's Tavies. I am joined by Matchroom and the Cammy D as we break down all the action here on the desk. Gentlemen, it has been 2 days of non-stop action and angry, mean circles, Matt.
Oh, I know. I love it. It's the best timeline. And I'm not even going to talk any more than that, just to say the fact that I want more of them.
Literally, I think I just heard you in a video saying, end of the dream, and now you're saying you love horrible circles. Cameron, save us. Be nice to the players.
No, I mean, they weren't all mean. We actually had a couple of ones that flew in the opposite direction of very slow, very monotonous. There was that Sonic win of the solo shack just east of apartments, right? But really, I'm wanting more military-based games. The South American qualifiers, at least half of the games that they played on air and go from military base, we haven't had one yet. Where is it? Come on, they've been training for this.
All right, you guys think about when it's going to show up. I'm going to put you on the sidelines for just a second while I walk everyone here through how we got here and what we're playing for. It's format time. 128 teams from 2 separate regions started this shindig and fought their way all the way to where we are now. We're the top 10 from North America, and the top 6 from Latin America have met to make the Big 16. They're playing for their share of $50,000 in prizes, 12.5K for first, 500 for last is a consolation prize. Still a little something for getting this far. The big jewel in the ring is the PGC qualification points. As we get closer and closer to PGC, those points become bigger and bigger and bigger. 300 for first, 10 for last, and we've seen in the past that 10 can be the difference between success and failure. Now let's take a look back at what happened yesterday. It's time for teams to watch and our highlights.
Oh, kicking everything off with this one, we're going to take a quick look at Dodge. And let's be honest, I've sometimes had some fears about Dodge falling off because they have some big moments, but then it feels like they just can't quite make it to the end and get their point totals up. I don't think that this is happening this time around, though. Gats has filled so many of the small holes and now allowed them to be a much more aggressive team. Sometimes they had some hesitation in their firefights. Now they are pushing their way into multiple teams and near on no fear. These guys are going to continue keeping up their points per game.
On the other side of things for you, but I'll be honest, I was worried about them coming into these grand finals from their qualifiers. I felt that some of their better games in the Latin American qualifiers were gifted to them, but they've actually been playing very, very well. And the weird thing is that they are one of the few teams that I'm finding it very hard to pinpoint a specific style for them. They can play edge, they can play center, they can play aggressive, they can play defensive. They're one of the few teams that feel like they can do this. I don't know if they're just really good at improv or their playbook is so deep. This really is where my lack of competitive experience is hurting me, because reading these guys is incredibly difficult. I never really know what to expect. They're not the most explosive outside of course, amazing wins like that, but they're still a very, very strong team.
Oh, you do you, Kings. Young Kings right now. They're doing, we talked about points per game a second ago, Dodge, right? These guys are a lot more, I guess, varied on that. They did find themselves a chicken dinner, but they're venturing into some dangerous territory where they're not always making it in the end game. But when they are getting very high kill counts, and even in their bad games, they're finding a great way to keep those kills up, so that way they can keep their average points per game up, and that's why they're contesting at the top of the leaderboard. I mean, It's so interesting to watch the fact that we've seen so many of these teams that, to be honest, we had our eyes on, but we weren't expecting to be assaulting the top 5, having such a great performance in these first 2 days.
Yeah, I'll be honest. We saw, through the Latin American qualifiers for Young Kings, we saw them get more and more proactive as the games went on, and it seems that proactivity has continued. I'm not the biggest fan of their macro, but the games that they are able to put themselves in a solid position, usually on Miramar, they can hold their spots fairly well.
It has been interesting to see as we look at the board right now. United Sonics up at the top. Sonics are on the chase. Dodge and Yoho also had massive days yesterday to close that gap. But you brought up, Cameron, the Kings, as well as some other teams who have been improving dramatically over time. We've been seeing a glow up. We saw a big one from Yoho yesterday. In fact, we took a chance to talk because it feels like the region is becoming a little more competitive, a little more intense since we've sort of combined our grand finals. So we caught up with the players and asked them what their take is on the challenges within the region right now.
A comparación de los demás torneos, de los previos torneos jugados, yo creo que el nivel se mantiene igual, no hay muchos jugadores nuevos en la escena y solamente algunos cambios de algunos equipos, así que yo creo que es el mismo nivel.
So far, I don't think it's been more challenging. I think we played bad. We haven't played together as a team in a while, and I think we just don't always get along perfectly as people might think, but as soon as we got along and started having a positive attitude and got confident, the games were literally mind-blowingly easy.
Yes, and the reason why is because there's actually been a lot of new teams formed that are that have really strong rosters, and I think going from last year's ESL, where I think you had 10 give or take teams that are grand finals worthy, you actually now have somewhere between 13, 14 in the NA scene at least. I don't know about South America.
Yeah, I think every tournament the competition just gets better and better. Everyone gets better mechanically, and the teams have better chemistry and they work on their rotates.
Yo creo que esta fase de la Master fue un poco más difícil, pero la enfrentamos con mucha más inteligencia y supimos ver los errores que no estábamos pudiendo ver en la fase pasada. Yo creo que fue más difícil, pero nos adaptamos mucho más rápido y eso nos llevó a que sea más fácil para nosotros clasificar.
I think this PUBG Masters has been a little bit more challenging in terms of the group stage. I think the long break between ECS and this ESL was kind of hard on some players, especially myself, and I would say Oldlist the most from our team just because we didn't play as much. It's hard to play every single day And I tried to do the best I could, but you have such a long break, you have about 2 months since we didn't go to PNC, and you saw some of these group stage teams that had played through opens or even came out and maybe played a little bit more during the offseason because their team was around. They still had that spark that we didn't have day one.
I don't think that this tournament phase 2 was a problem to us because we had a lot of time to prepare because we had Nations Cup, and this gave to us a lot of time to explore new things, to get better in communications, get better in getting info.
I loved hearing it, but I got to ask a very simple question, Matt. United, day one, I asked you, can anyone catch them? And yesterday, I don't know if they've got banana peels for flip-flops, but something's going on.
They haven't been caught yet, but it definitely feels like they are sliding. They had a massive, I think it was 73, 77 points on the first day. Then yesterday they had a 16th out with 0 kills and a 15th out with 0 kills, and that means the fact that it's opened up the leaderboard so teams like Sonics can try to chase after them.
I mean, okay, I'll tell you what. They were out with 0 kills, but it's time for us to bring in 2 people who are prepared to kill game number 1 as we get this shindig underway. It is our casters for the day, Porosaurus and Clover.
Thank you, Thobbies, and of course I am Porosaurus, and joining me once again is Clover. How you doing, my dear?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to, as Toffee said, kill it on the desk today, on the cast today, I should say.
I'm excited too. It kind of brings up a weird. I know we got a lot of stuff to talk about as far as the game. And have you ever? Where did the term shindig come from? I might have to look that up, man.
That's an etymology. I don't know.
It's one of those weird names that you just kind of take for granted. You don't even think of. Anyway, all right. Maybe somebody in chat can let us know. But here we go. Right off the bat, the plane coming from the northwest all the way down to the southeast. Let's keep an eye on that Young Kings short circuit gaming situation by Ferry Pier, and that looks about to be it.
Yeah, I think a long drop. I wasn't sure if United was going to stay at Nova.
Yeah,
I think they kept
an eye on that,
Flood. So Flood might be actually falling a little bit short, but they are going to take that long drop into Milta. So, because it just narrowly took Milta Power out, which, okay. All right. United with that long parachute. That's good for them.
The United fans rejoice. You get the United Circle to start things off. Well, maybe in the United Circle, not whole 100% sure it might end over there on Milta Power just yet, but either way, they're going to have to do their looting phase a little bit later. And as for the Young Kings and SCG, well, it looks like that's come to a close for the time being. And everybody else just going to be kind of slow to start things off here.
Yeah, and I think slow is probably what these guys need. There's a bit of a talk to remind everybody. Yesterday was a lot of crazy circles, especially on those Miramar matches in which teams were having to leave their loot spots early, rotate really quickly, get into early scraps without a whole lot of resources. So having a little bit extra time, having a circle like this that is familiar to play with. We had one very similar in this area yesterday on Erangel. So Yahoo, though, I want to bring this up because even though they haven't really done great in terms of chickens or those late game placement points, their kills have been double digits throughout the event. And I know we've talked about Sonics, we've talked about United, but we also need to talk about Yahoo, because if they can finally get that late game performance or a chicken dinner, that's going to make them even scarier. They're only 2 points behind Dodge, 11 behind Sonics. So when we say one good game, I mean, if someone can get double-digit kills and a chicken dinner, that's going to be enough points to jump in the lead right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Yoho definitely came in here with a very specific win condition in mind, and that is just kill everybody in the lobby. Who cares?
It works.
Speaking of teams that have had a pretty good showing so far here, TAC 8. I know a lot of us on the NA side were kind of looking at TAC 8. We're like, really happy for them to finally make it, but really not expecting a whole lot of them once they got in here, just because this lobby is so difficult. But man, those guys have been putting in so much work. They've been able to get to the late game. They've been getting a decent amount of kills to go along with it. They've only had one game, I believe, where they've gone pointless. So TAC 8 really, really performing so far here this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different plays that I can really think of with a Tater, either playing an off ankle, playing the forward anchor. They would really triangulate positions in the late game so that whether it was 3 or 4 players or however many is left, they'd have all eyes and could really take control of a circle. So that only, I think, communication, but the trust in your teammates that you have to be able to pull off plays like that in the late game really slowed things down, but in their favor. And so, like you said, I mean, it's really great to see that evolution of play from that team. And I think the Deston even talked about it too. The teams themselves, I think, have gotten better. And that's one of the reasons why this lobby is so close in an event like this. No one's really had an opportunity to run away with it.
Check it back in with Yoho, and you can see Poonage has walked over 17 kilometers. Oh, man, I missed it. I love how our stats guys are now putting, there we go, putting things in terms of chickens. So he's walked 24,490 chickens by height. Just in case you were wanting to know, how many chickens Poonage has walked in the course of the map?
I think that might be. I mean, I know we had some banana stats, but
it's
I think
slow early game.
Yeah, I'm literally holding my arms out in front of me right now, trying to be like, I think a chicken is about this big.
Look, I've seen some real big chickens. All right, don't ask me how, but I don't want to get into it. It's a terrifying
Well, a country
story.
boy like you, I'm so surprised.
Hey, I'm not the country boy here. That's Matt. But checking in with Sonics making their way past Potato Mountain. One of the things I was kind of interested in with this Circle Clover, given the way the plane path worked out, the northeast side is going to be pretty open. Now, TAC-8 did move in there. They've sent 3DS. Now, I love the fact that they've sent Zenny out off to the east already to secure a foothold just in case. But keeping an eye on those teams that are wrapping around on the north is Wildcard and Trogloditas. TM also making their way over here. Now, Sonics creeping down from Potato Mountain. This is a little bit further than I would have maybe expected them to go.
Yeah, I think typically I expect him to stay up on that hill just to the east, southeast of, or west, excuse me, southwest of Potato Mountain. But with the circle pushed that much farther towards prison and shelter, I think they wanted to try to get themselves a little more center away from the edge.
Look at Ethan, actually.
I mean, look at this. Dodge is where you should expect them to be in this situation, right? They're really close to their drop spot. That said, Sonics have also been picking early fights with specific teams. Also, United being another one of them. So potentially expecting a kill here. Mine is going to get that opening knock there as Finna falls down, and you can see Smoke's back out, just trying to give additional coverage to teammates as Tiggleton, along with the rest of the team, are really trying to spread out. Now they're seeing if they can spot any member of Dodge, but it looks like Gats and Ethan aren't really interested in getting the res right now. I mean, Death Road, it's named that for a reason, Poro.
Yeah, Finna a little bit out on an island here. And unfortunately for Dodge, I think this is a lot having to do with the fact that 22 had dropped real close to their looting location. Hikerman kind of got forced to stay behind. So Dodge ended up being kind of 3 alone. Oh my goodness, what is happening here? Trogloditas running right into Tokyo Manji Gang. Already it's down to Wadis and Hello My Bad. I think it's a 2v1. There it is. Tokyo Manji Gang finally winning an early fight.
And they should have plenty of time to get the res. As you can see, Hello My Bad throwing out smokes to get Zealot and Colton picked back up. But oh, bing, bang, boom. You can see there on the mini map, looks like they started to drive in that direction. Oldest may be curious if he could interest, but I think might have been talked out from teammates that are not close enough to lend a hand just yet. So hopefully these reses come out for Tokyo Manji Gang. Mal, they have had a very bad start to this tournament. They had very few points, I believe 6 on day 1. Had a little bit of a catch up yesterday, got a couple of kills in multiple games, but we really haven't seen the style of play that we expected from them from the group stage. So Tokyo Manji Gang winning that first one, that's good for them on the leaderboard right now.
I would say we're seeing the same style of play. We're just not seeing the same success that they had in the group stages that they had with that style of play. So they're running into teams, they're taking fights, they're aggro. That's what Tokyo Manji Gang likes to do, and they're really good at it. But unfortunately, it's been a little bit of a slow start. But I like the fact that they're sticking with it regardless, knowing how they got here. So hopefully we'll see those fights start to turn their way. That is a good start right there. A 4v4 against Trogloditas in the open, and they clean it up pretty easily, pretty quickly. So that's a good sign if you're a TMG fan.
We're seeing the remnants as well of Synergy, who did try to backfill Sonics coming right up to their position. They kind of got punished just a bit. Tiggleton and Mime got one of those kills. I believe it was Benna that was taken out, and they're going to go ahead and pull back towards Potato Hill and wrap around. So at this point, Sonics have pretty strong control of the West. You can see those still at range, bringing out those DMRs. And that's going to give Pippa a little reason to move his car. Oh, he forgot to pull the brake.
Eek. Yeah, a little bit lucky here. Well, I don't want to say lucky, but the work for Sonics things have been going well for them, because like we were saying earlier with Dodge, they got kind of held back by 22. They weren't able to get all 4 up to the top of Death Road at the right time. So Sonics catching out Finna there put the other 2 from Dodge, Ethan and Gats, kind of in a 2v4 situation, so they pull away. So easy kill for them right there. Synergy then happens to rotate right by them at the same time, so perfect timing. They managed to pick off Danny, and an easy kill for them. So nice work by Sonic so far. We talked earlier about how their rotations out of Pachiki have been so fast, so quick, and we're seeing that pay off dividends here.
Yeah. And also, too, just real credit to TAC 8. We saw Zenny send it earlier for that compound. They did get a bit of a help in terms of a split, and that pushed Wildcard out towards Mansion, but another solo, Tater, out here on his lonesome. But, I mean, you kind of called it, right? Scouting that information out from the team, separate from the group as a whole. It's a bit of a high-risk reward play in this situation, because if Tater gets caught out, is not going to be any time for a lot of assistance. You can see just barely in the minimap. He's got one more teammate just to the southwest of him, but depending on how fast this goes down with Wildcard, TAC 8 at some point are going to need to condense down. It's only phase 1. They've got a little bit of time, but with Wildcard circling this area is going to have to be something they're going to need to keep mindful of, as their circle has shifted and still looking pretty good for TAC 8 right now.
Not too shabby. And yeah, I mean, I think Wildcard was in the middle of the rotation, so Tater taking those shots early at the first car, making sure that nobody decided to crash onto him. But you can see T8 already on the move once again. Looks like they're going to go ahead and refocus around Hooligan. Leave Palix over there. They're giving Wildcard a little bit of a problem, as you can see Wildcard still in vehicles trying to make their way. But now this might be Wildcard wanting to take this fight. We'll take a look at, keep an eye on the leaderboard as that, or the kill feed rather, as that happens here, as we see 22 making moves right past Yahoo.
And see, it looks like they're going to go for that Southern Prison rotation 22. That is Wildcard. I've just decided to commit. And that is going to move TAC 8 back into one compound. They decided to all opt for what looks like Hooligan, who was sitting here earlier. And again, they're going to send 2 ahead. They're not happy with that position. It looks like the play might be to take the barracks here just on the other side of Prison. But you can also see that E United, who set up some good viewpoints and some hits, but this is going to be a bit of a slow game here. Most of this is just superficial damage at some distance right now.
Yeah, I do like this decision on the part of TAC 8. They didn't want to take the risk of getting involved in an early fight with Wildcard over that high-low compound. Rather, they'll send Tater and Palix towards a little bit closer towards center circle while still maintaining that 2-2 split. Oh no! Balefrost coming up over the top of Tiggleton at the worst time, and Sonic's going to lose their fragger early. Well, one of their fraggers, I guess.
You know what? I can't discount them yet, because this happened on Miramar yesterday. They lost Tiggleton and H-Win early, and Shrimpsy was still able to pull out that crazy win in Al-Zahar. Now, obviously, that was a city finish. Circumstances were kind of chaotic and crazy, but...
Yeah, something looks weird about how Sonics is set up right now. There might have been a DC issue there. I'm not 100% sure, but the way they're set up right now just looks... Yeah, I think H-Win maybe had an issue. That's unfortunate. That really sucks, but... Oh well, that's move on to next, as H-Win will get flushed out by Balefrost, and now Mime and Shrimsy will have to play this one down as solos.
And Yahoo really have not had to leave shelter since their drop. This is their drop spot. Obviously, you did see they kind of sent 2 down to the south to those compounds, which is where they found Tiggleton out in that rotation of Sonics. Unfortunately, you said had to kind of make that play for H-Win. Mime is actually far off, just beyond the ridgeline on the towers. And this kind of splitting that we have early on, obviously we're still in phase 2. If the circle shifts real hard south, Balefrost and Poonage in that position is going to give him a better foothold moving in that direction. But talking about moving, and somebody who hasn't really done much today, as they've been taking these extremely wide rotations away from teams, has been the Young Kings.
Yeah, Young Kings has been really interesting to watch the last couple of days. They will take a fight on the edge outside of zone, on the zone shift, and they will commit, man. That is how they're getting their points, and it is driving some teams crazy, I have to imagine, but I mean, it's what they've been doing. They've been finding some success with it, and you know, we can't discount the fact that they got that big win yesterday. God, I think, what did they end up with? It was like something like 12. Yeah, a win with 12 kills. So Young Kings definitely have the fragging ability to hang, and they're actually going to creep in and find a pretty decent spot in this new zone.
Just this whole street, all the way along the coastline here, is going to control rotations not only from teams like Fiumba and SCG. It looked like might potentially want to take out this area, but they could also pull back to one of these compounds. Now, the only issue, obviously, is that they are a little bit spread out. So again, it comes from support. Oh, no.
Oh, boy. Yep, there's some big jousting going on as Synergy once again find themselves 3 deep in a vehicle. And they are pulling right by, but that is an artillery tank that Synergy is rolling with right now. Moody going to try to make his way through. Looks like they're going to lose Icy Flex in the process. Good to see him back playing with the squad here today. But Bing Bang Boom wants all of it, and they're pushing right in. Roth will go down. Simply Matt refuses to leave the UAZ. He is just going to keep doing circles around them, while Zenny going to try to see if he can maybe get something with these grenades. Well-placed grenades they could be. Hooligan will find one. And now BBB, they're still right on top. It looks like Spicy Fish, for the most part, taking care of Moody, the only one to make it through that mess.
Oh, you see Bing Bang Boom was trying to prioritize reses, but unfortunately both nades by Wades. At this point, I mean, there's a reason that his name rhymes with them, because he is just absolutely a nade master. But you can see it also came with a little bit of a price. So Zealot throwing out smokes. I'm not going down just yet, but this is the issue with this. Look how much open space is here, Poro. And you can see 3 different teams rotating in that area right next to TAC 8, so 4 in a fight. TAC 8 still in this position, so Tokyo Manjige need to be a bit careful from this.
7 kills for Juarez so far, and they did lose 2, and that's well, that sucks. But you know what? You've got 8 kills so far, so if you're going to trade one player for 4 kills, you probably do that every time. As we see, you did mention Fiumba was trying to make their way over here on this eastern road, and Young Kings in a position to do maybe a little bit of damage here. For the most part, Ika's just playing it quiet right now and just feeding this information over to the rest of his team. He doesn't really have a whole lot of support close by. They're all just to the south of Lippo, and they've got other issues to worry about with Wildcard. But good to see Sonics, Shimsy, and Mime do manage to get back together, and they're playing the top of these prison cliffs.
Yeah, they've managed to squeeze themselves almost center of the zone in this position, but, you know, losing both Tickleton and H-Win early is going to hinder things. You can see they've changed their style of play a little bit, kind of defensive in this spot. Not only are they going to be able to see anybody who might walk up on them, but it does give them a little extra protection. Elsewhere, though, you do still have Synergy down inside below, just too easy, just to the west of them. But Balefrost, Yahoo starting to creep up on it. So good opportunity for Sonics to maybe even capitalize on one of these fights that could break out around them as the circle is going to shift in their favor. This is the prison road split, Poro.
Yeah, this is a El Clasico on the East Coast here, with Prison being right involved. A lot of that north side still involved as well, but now this creates a little bit of a problem for Sonic. Yeah, they're already crashing inside Prison. They know to expect a lot of company on the south side of this circle. Yahoo, they need to probably get together here pretty quickly, because you can see Dodge 22, they're all on the move. SCG also could look over in this direction at some point. But there you go. Yahoo going to open up onto Dodge as they make that pass. Are they sending it right in?
They're going to go right on top of Sonics.
They're going right in. Oh, no. I don't think that was that the plan?
I think the plan was to just send it and hope not to get caught.
Huh? Okay.
Oh, well, okay. You know what? 10 points for that landing. There you go. They actually managed to get in relatively low on damage and completely cleared the ridgeline out of line of sight from Sonics, and surprisingly a tiny bit of distance from Synergy as well, that wall separating them here. So these 3 teams are going to be able to exist in harmony for just a little longer.
3 teams inside of Prison. That's not something we've seen in a while. And I mean, usually, you know, on Prison Circles, I feel like this is, if you're a solo or a duo, you know, it makes a lot more sense to send it in. If you got 3 up, I don't know. I feel like you could probably fight out for better spots to play. But you know what? This is the call from Dodge. This is a call from Synergy. And oh no, Fiumba. They're finding some knocks here. Extreme and Vox going down back to back.
Yeah, I think Capitan originally had jumped down because he had kind of got driven up on by members of SCG, and so Fiumba let go of what was happening with Young Kings and turned their attention back in this direction. You see smokes out right now as meds and throwables trying to come into play, but Emmy throwing those one just too far to do any considerable damage to Richie B, as he's just going to continue to keep down the smokes. Rebo did spot him, though. The knock comes out, and Neferhor, who's in the last smoke at the top of the hill, taking fire not only from members of Fiumba, but from 22, who now up the hill has spotted the fight going down below.
Oh, and 22 has all day long to just sit here and farm this if they want to. Neferhor going to try to hold back the push from Fiumba. It looks like he's going to find some success with it, but there you go. Haze 10. Rybo's going to be the one that gets the last bullet in. Haze 10 did the most work there. 22, they have a free path into circle. So does Fiumba, but it looks like they've spotted out Haven just on the edge of blue. Haven needing to be a little bit careful here.
Yeah, the rest of 22 already focusing on getting in the zone. Vinny was the first to try and find a position and see if he could cut out the rotation that was coming in from Fiumba, with eyes still on them as they're rotating in. And all members of 22 having vehicles really helping, not only in giving them coverage, but that quicker rotation into the zone. But you can see now, last of Fiumba should be good and safe as they're just putting their brakes down. Now, on the opposite side, I want to point out again, looks like Yahoo have kind of condensed. Balefrost was holding that angle to make sure nobody came in on the backside. And now I think once we see the confidence that they feel no one's behind them, we might see them start chasing potentially one of these. Or as I say that, the circle's actually shifting in their favor. So now they've got an opportunity to gatekeep 22.
This is a huge game for Yahoo setting up here, and especially if 22 and Fiumba, it looks like they decided to stick out the fight here. DraftKings going to go down to blue, but probably because he took a lot of damage from shots before 22 first. 22, you can see them pushing onto that fight. Meanwhile, Wildcard trying to get rid of what's left of Tokyo Manji Gang. Unfortunately for Wildcard, they were hanging out up on this northern side, these open fields. They do lose Greg Shot. They're a little bit split right now. They should be able to get back together. T8, meanwhile, they've got to get on the move as Tokyo Manji Gang just holding on for dear life here.
I mean, it's a car fort. You've got to use it to your best of your abilities, and hopefully one of those might be able to drive, because ahead of them is a lot of open ground, but also ahead of Haven was what's left of Fiumba. But again, that positioning that 22 had was able to dominate that position. Now, as that res comes out onto Vinny, 22 should continue to come back out on this. On top of the issue now, Poro, and you can see it on the mini-map as well, is there's not a lot of free rotations from this point on. They are going to have to take yet another fight, even with some of these depleted resources.
It sure isn't, and it looks like 22 got a lot of help with that one. They're sitting on 2 kills, even though they just wiped Fiumba, so I'm guessing either E United or Young Kings got some of those as well. E United in the middle of trying to hold off a push from those same Young Kings who have just been backfilling them this whole time. 22 looks like they're going to wrap around on that south side, take the fight to Yahoo. So a number of fights right about to pop off on this eastern side of the circle.
I mean, the big issue with this circle is outside of prison, especially when you go north, there's not a lot of space. There's a small dip that looks like TAC 8 have claimed, but everybody else is going to have coverage in these trees, in these ridgelines, and inside of the prison. And with 34 players still alive, with this little ground to have a hiding spot, I mean, that's why you're about to see a huge bloodbath. Now, Dean Zera, and spotted out by Sparking. Yahoo getting that first knock into members of 22. Hasten is knocked as well. Haven and Vinny are just going to do what we saw Sonics and Dodge do. Drive into the rock face, hope to find some type of coverage for protection, as it looks like rotating in the direction of Yahoo is just not going to play out.
Really nice work from Yahoo. They had somebody that was watching off to the north, keeping an eye on Just Too Easy, but I think they realized the situation with 22, call everybody back, 4-man clear out that south side. So now they know for a fact that their backs are clear. Just Too Easy, meanwhile, it looks like they're just going to hold on to the spot that they're in for the time being. But the fact that Yahoo cleans out 22, or at least takes 1 off of 22 there, they do manage to get the res back onto Haze 10. So 22 still have a little bit of room to play with, but this needs to be Yahoo's priority here. If they can clean out 22, they're looking really nice for this late game.
And Young Kings 22, or E United, pardon me, have actually been going at this for just a little while as they've continued to try to get into the zone. Nateable. E United are using so much of utility. I can't imagine that they still have too much left after this. You can see Rello's just down to smoke grenades and potentially a few flashbangs. So there you go, another flashbang. Keep that pressure. And waiting to see members get. Looks like Psycho's going to get 1 when Flood comes back out. Assistance.
Oh, Snakers!
Oh, there you go. They actually got all of them. E United, though, they do get 2 knocks. Have time to get the reses here. No other eyes in this corner. So E United getting that full squad wipe. Meanwhile, Moody spotted by 22. not a good place to lay prone there, bud.
Oh man, he got one though. He took him down and he got the flush as well. So another point over to Spicy Fish, despite the fact that they were down to 1. But what a clutch fight there by E United. They should be able to get those reses. Unfortunately for them, the circle now popping away. And Yahoo, you can see they realize the situation with that new circle. If they can clean out, they absolutely have to clean out whatever's left here. But flashbangs after flashbangs, Deston not making it easy for them at all. As now Shimbo
there you go, you got it.
There it is. Oh no, Hikerman from way downtown.
Yeah, Hikerman's inside of prison actually had a line of sight just as Yahoo peeked over that. But you can see Balefrost working on that res. Blue slowly creeping in, and he made the call. I'm going to pick up my teammate and see if I can just creep into zone. But he's got a bit of a walk to do, and this is phase 6. So we might see the call of him having to make that drop and just run for it. Meanwhile, now with additional teams, we still got the 3 in prison. They've just kind of creeped along. Mime actually came down from the high ground just outside of Dodge's position. And Shrimzy's holding out wide, and United have decided that they are just going to try and traverse down the rock face. But now in the line of sight of TAC 8, taking some damage. Flood finds some coverage in terms of a little bit of a wall and a burnt-out car. But, I mean, they're pinned down. There's nowhere to go. Tater landing shots into Kickstart, who's stuck behind a tree.
It's been a lot of fighting going on the south side of the circle, so we haven't even gotten a chance to really check in a while on TAC 8, but they have just been dominant, controlling that north side of the circle, keeping 4 up late. Now, if they can prevent E United from pushing any further in, they could be really well set up here.
Snakers.
But nice moves by Snakers once again, as he is just putting the team on his back right now.
It's going to be a slight punish from Sparking, who got the high ground vantage point on that position. But you can see Kickstart and Flood.
He opened the door.
Support. Yeah, absolutely. They can now make that move, come out from behind the tree, get the better angle. But you can see Zenny still using those opportunities for TAC 8 to get additional shots and damage into Kickstart with, it looks like, another hit from Dodge. That's it. Kickstart falling here. Silson actually was one to get Flood.
NT for E United there, but that was a tough road to be sure, with eyes from the high side and the low side. And TAC 8, they're going to get back up to 4 strong, and they're looking pretty nice. But you got to feel like Yahoo is in the driver's seat. The high ground, all 4 remaining. Where's this circle going to go? Is it going to shift away from prison? Well, prison still staying in for the time being. So just too easy. They've got some decision making to do here. They've got 2 fights that they could take, or they could just play it quiet, play it slow, as they wait to see where the next circle takes them. Balefrost, you can see, still trying to lay down fire onto the boys from Dodge. But Shrimzy and Mime, they've managed to make it this far. Can they do anything else?
You know, my eyes as well on Synergy. They've got all 3 of those long warehouses here in prison to play from, and these are the buildings that are left in the zone. So if Sonics and Dodge, whose only other rotation is to go out in the open, that just beyond that wall, which is going to be in the line of sight of TAC 8 as well as Synergy, they could be probably even potentially challenge Synergy for one of those buildings. That's going to be the best play for Sonics and Dodge in this position.
Well, the Mime is just working these walls right now. He's managing to avoid the utility for the most part. That grenade's going to do a little bit of damage, though, so it'll have to stop down. And oh no, he's lost his running mate. Shrimzy going to get spotted out by Silson before he can get down from that higher ground. Now, Mime, once again, getting asked to do a lot here as a solo for Sonics, but he has delivered in the past, and it has been a very recent past here as he continues to send those frags over. Meanwhile, Yahoo, they decide that they do not want to have to deal with just too easy, and they clean them up quickly.
You know, they made that tough decision for just too easy for them, as you called out. And Mime now in a tough spot of his own. You can see keeping eyes on TAC 8 as well as what's going in the prison, but also watching out for Yahoo.
Bad, though. Yeah. This, I mean, out of all the people in prison, Mime probably in the safest spot. He's got that wall to play with. And he's got some coverage from TAC 8 as well. So Mime just going to play it slow, and Gats will get rest. So Dodge back up to 2 strong, but Synergy, I mean, they are just pinned and ready. Oh, good grenade.
Oh, Ethan and Gats, it's not looking great for them, because I think even if they manage to escape what's left of the Synergy fight, they're going to run right into Mime.
Yeah, this is tough sledding for those boys, but looks like they'll be back on the move. They'll avoid the Molotov. They'll avoid the grenade, as they I think they still could play the inside of the wall a little bit. They have a little corner for themselves cut out here And you can see they're smoking it off right now. Synergy, though, still on the move. Yaho still has not come over here to kind of look down into the crater. Looks like they're focusing now more on TAC 8. And TAC 8's kind of in a weird position now to where they have to keep eyes on Yaho and Synergy at the same time, but they've got a big spread going. The circle does pop and favor them a little bit here.
Yeah, that miraculously still one of these buildings for Synergy is in the zone, but as you said, TAC 8 and Yaho. Yaho with the high ground, keeping that eye on TAC 8, excuse me. Yaho keeping the eye on TAC 8. Yaho have the high ground. They don't want to give that position up, but they also, as you said, need to monitor everybody coming out of prison, as there's still a couple people in. It looks like a smoke ball was thrown up by Dodge. They did try to push Mine's position, get on the other side of the wall and out of line of sight of Synergy. Mine finds one for Gats, but go ahead and takes a break to pop a first aid kit. It's not going to be enough, though. Ethan cresting the wall, gets a headshot, takes out Mime, but it came at a cost of one member of Dodge, who are down now to a solo.
Oh, they'll not the best case scenario, but it's a pretty good one. Dodge does get spotted out by Benya. Okay, Ethan will go down. So now we're down to our top three. Synergy 3 up inside the compound. T8 working that low side. Yaho, meanwhile, I mean, they'll look at this. This is going to be pretty dicey for all involved here. Oh, Sparking going to find Pippa, and yeah, unfortunately had the grenade primed in hand, so he's going to go down. Feels like Yaho has the better position here, though.
Yeah, I think it's kind of theirs to give up, right? The phase 9 is going to favor them, as well as that circle is just going to be perfectly in between them and TAC 8. But with Synergy, with the last 2 players up, they could kind of push to the wall. But you can see anytime they even look to leave the building, it's the doors that face both of these teams. And so that is too vulnerable a position for them to move. And as you call that with Benya, it's just completely pinned down. But Balefrost and Shimboy, I mean, the other issue for them obviously is to making sure that Hooligan and Palix don't wrap arounds and take away some of that positioning that they've gained for themselves.
With 10 kills, this will be the 4th time in 11 games that Yaho has broken double-digit kills, which I believe is more than anybody in the lobby. I'm just kind of taking a cursory glance here, but we talked about it earlier. Yaho definitely coming in here with their trigger fingers on fire, and it is working a treat for them right now. Now all that's left is to try to secure that victory, that elusive victory. 2 seconds so far, no firsts, but this could jump Yaho nicely up in the lead.
Again, we've always say it's one good game. I mean, they're 6 points out of first place right now. And with 5 kills, 6 potentially left on the board, if they could kill everybody else left, that's enough regardless of the chicken dinner wins. So this is going to be a great game for them with Sonics and United already being out in that position. But Synergy are making this hard for both of these teams. I mean, TAC 8 also could really do well with a win. I believe it's both TAC 8 and Yaho of the 3 left that haven't gotten one yet.
Yeah, oh, nice shots from Benya as Synergy. Yeah, you said it. They are just proving to be really hard to kill. As I'm curious as to what TAC 8's utility situation is coming from that north side. I think they probably managed to pull a little bit off of E United, maybe some off of some of those teams they fought earlier. As Tater's going to go down now. Balefrost gets res, so Yaho back up to full strength, and they've still got a few things left in the bag.
I think you're right, though. I mean, looking through all of these players, they don't have Molotovs, they don't have frag grenades. They might have a few flashbangs in the back pocket, but they're starting to run out of resources, and that's the issue with a lot of these teams left. You can see it's very similar here for Yaho, who also have a lot of damaged armor. Balefrost vest, it's just completely broken. 1 bullet, and that's going to be it for him. So with Benya still up for Synergy, the phase 9 circle closing. Less than a minute to the circle left. Chaos ensuing, and Punage, Shinboy, both landing shots on the members of TAC 8. That opens things up, and you can see them starting to make a rush for the ridge line. Benya still up, though, snaking behind this, but it looks like now even bigger threat for TAC 8.
Just like that, 2 instant knocks from T8 gives Benya a little bit of time to work with. He's going to get Shimboy, but immediately gets traded out. So it's a 2v1, I believe. Yeah, Tater, no, 2v2. As Palix is going to, oh no, Palix loses the 1v1 against Shimboy, and there you go, Yaho, get that elusive first victory.
15 kills, regardless of the win. Yet another double-digit performance from the boys of Yaho. I mean, Poro, you said it. They have not had these bad games. They're always finding the points regardless of the win. But that game, it was so perfectly played. The win looked to be in their back pocket for the last 2 phases. So congratulations to the boys for just a job well done on the battlefield.
I mean, they did exactly what they needed to do, right? They had good IGLing to make sure that they cleared up their south side, making sure the 22 couldn't wrap around on them. They made sure that everything was clear before they dealt with the Just Too Easy threat. They didn't waste any time dealing with Just Too Easy. I mean, they pushed down and dispatched with them quickly. So, I mean, Yoho just completely took over that western side of that prison, and I mean, it was just a sight to behold. I mean, that being said, all credit due to TAC 8 as well. I mean, they picked up a nice stack of kills to go along there. They looked really, really good playing from that north side. I mean, they were in control pretty much the whole time, and it came down to a 2v2. That's all you can really ask for.
Yeah, and I mean, real quick too, because we talked about at the very beginning of the game, but TAC 8's performance absolutely has been an increase, and it's been catching the eye of the other teams. And that first game, I think it's just a perfect showing of what we could potentially expect from them today.
Well, these guys have been playing awesome, and you guys have been playing awesome. Well, you know what else is awesome? The new map from PUBG, Deston, the new 8x8 map. It's definitely it's available to play right now. Make sure you go and check it out. You got new utility items, new vehicles, new weapons. That O12 is goated. Hop on with your squad to check out all the new biomes, like the skyscraper pack downtown Ripton, or my favorite, the wheel, the Ferris wheel. I was calling it a wheelbarrow. It's not a wheelbarrow. That is a Ferris wheel. As Texans, we can appreciate a very good Ferris wheel.
We do. We have the best Ferris wheel in the country.
We really do. Not trying to be bragging about it, but yeah, Star of Texas. Google it. Anyway, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, the analyst desk will break down everything we saw in game number 1.
Game 1 is done, and Yahoo continues the glow up as they yell Yahoo as they come to victory. I mean, they played that game so well. My name's Savis. I'm joined by Matchroom and Cammy D to break down the action. But I'll be honest, once that shift gave them sort of defense on the back and the high ground above the prison, they played it beautifully.
Oh, there's a lot going on inside that game, and just in true North American fashion, as everything moved into prison, it was all about trying to get out or avoid prison, and TAC8 did a great job of just controlling everybody that was trying to move around it.
I thought you were going to make a prison industrial complex joke with just like everything else in North America. When you have a prison that's in the area, you just want to fill it up with as many people as possible.
Well, I filled up this next clip with as many highlights as possible.
Hey, highlights. We even got an exclamation point on it now. And look, this is going to be an area not around prison, but kind of. And Tokyo Manji Gang finding some legs for a little while, getting some kills. The problem is, what happens next?
I mean, who could survive this? BBB couldn't even survive this. Tactical 8 just barely survived it, and that's only because they had the cover of the trenches themselves to just throw grenades for free, right? Like, honestly, this was a very good attempt by Bing Bang Boom. I actually thought that they had it for a second, avoiding all of Tactical 8's grenades, but then, of course, the other half of Tokyo Manji Gaming, who we should acknowledge have been a little bit of a struggle bus themselves. But this is a good way to sort of pick their spirits up as they get used to this Grand Finals lobby.
If you're going to go out early, at least taking some kills makes you feel better about it. They still made it in the later stages. So the problem with it is the fact that so many people could make it into prison. I really love that Dodge made this very early rotation, realizing it was highly likely going to go this way and moving over here before the cluster came around Pride Rock.
I mean, I guess it was a play for placement. I mean, I'm going to disagree with you on that. I think they sort of cowered out. I feel like they should have taken a fight against Yahoo, who, as we saw, had such a great position. They weren't really challenged all that much, but United here on the east side. I was excited to see this fight break out. Young Kings have been taking a lot of good engagements in a straight-up 4 versus 4. Unfortunately, that flank by Flood, I think, was the real key of United's victory. They had a couple of members knocked, but it was that push against Tactical 8 who had been able to make their way across that road, which is a dangerous cross that we all are aware of. We're able to hold out strong.
There was a lot of snakers shooting people in that one, and United being one of the first teams to assault T8's position, that did do some weakening to them. We can see that Benja was over here for a while, almost stepped up right back behind Yoho, does get a knock onto Shinboy. And this is just TAC8 doing a great job of surviving, realizing the control that's coming around them. But note, Yahoo got a ton of kills on this western cliff side. And so this is still going to be a very good game for them as well.
Yeah, 15 kills for them. But real quick, though, I really like what I'm seeing from Tactical 8. From not just their games previously up until now, not just the fact that they're able to get second place, and almost, it was so close. It was down to a 1 versus 1 between them and Yahoo. Just overall, they've been adapting to this Grand Finals lobby very, very well. I like how they're positioning themselves, their control of the north side before they cross below and then control that exit from prison. It's look for a team that I was surprised they qualified in the first place. They were looking great.
There was a lot of people who said, and I've had multiple analysts say, Tactical 8, a team that we don't expect to see in the top. To have them in 5th place right now speaks incredibly powerful, Matt, to what Palix said. He dropped half the roster and rebuilt with the blessing of the organization and feels like it's the best roster they've ever had. And what I'm seeing from them has been beautiful.
Yeah, I would say that they're kind of like the unsung hero. You don't necessarily want to call them an underdog due to their performances because they're quite strong in their firefights. It's just the fact that a lot of the times they're taking aggressive plays whenever something else is going on around them.
I don't know. I'll still call them an underdog.
I get that. Well, we'll wait. We'll see how they do in this one, but it's time for match number 2 with the real stars of Texas. It's Clover and Polosaurus.
Polosaurus. You know, okay. The definition of an underdog is a person not normally expected to win that is winning. So
thank you, Clover.
I think that they are, in that case, an underdog, because we don't typically power rank them as high as you might expect other teams that have won previous events at this level. So nothing on TAC8. We love them, but come on.
We do. I think they're great. And also, like, the point of an underdog is one day they grow teeth, right? They get some muscle, and they come out there and hopefully become the top dog. And that's what I've loved seeing.
To expect Tactical 8 to win this event is absolutely outrageous. It's the first time these players have been in a lobby of this strength, have been in the grand finals in quite a while, if not ever. So
Since
this is
PCS3.
basically, yeah, and that was a while ago. So this is a great learning experience for them. Oftentimes you'll see teams qualify and then sort of sputter out, TMG. And so for Tactical 8 to be performing this well, I'm actually excited for the future of this team, no matter where they place at the end of this tournament. Oh, yes! Yes! We get it.
All we needed was for Cameron to make it a really extended, long point and talk for the circle top, and now we finally get our Millie Island. I love it.
Yeah, thanks for the gift, y'all.
We've done our job.
Based Cameron, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Look, we've been wanting a Millie Circle. We've been wanting a Millie Circle to throw a little bit of a complication into things here. And this is, okay, right off the bat, Clover, first team I've got eyes on is SCG. I want to know what Short Circuit Gaming is going to do on this, because, look, they've been notorious for bridge camping on Millie Circles.
Absolutely.
And last time we saw a Millie Circle with them involved, Sonics actually Mime pushed them off by himself of this bridge camp, and it looks like they're not even going to waste any time on the north side, just going to send it over to the Millie Island right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I think, too, we've seen them where they'll leave really quickly and set up on this side of the bridge, right, for the teams coming out of Millie. They were doing a lot of that in groups as well. So getting themselves in the position where they can receive the kills, right? Let the bridge funnel the kills to you could potentially be the player.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what their response to Sonic's response is going to be. Look, it's all micro warfare going on here. A little bit of psychological warfare maybe at times as well. But right off the bat, I can tell you, Sonic's, the time that they did do the push onto SCG and push them off of this bridge camp, by 2 minutes they were out of Pachinki. This time they're taking their time. So maybe switching things up a little bit here. And to be honest, I think Short Circuit Gaming, they've got a little bit more of a problem with Young Kings. I think that's the team that they would love to be able to take out right now.
Yeah, and that was always the big question, right, coming into the lobby when you bring Latin America and North America together in the finals after we're done with the regionals, is which are the teams from both regions that are going to constantly butt heads. And with their loot spots being so close, it's one that we've seen a lot. We've also seen 22 and E United having a lot of pairings just because they're very close with Milta and Milta Power. But yeah, Young Kings, I mean, we've talked about just their growth in the lobby right now, sitting in 8th place, 64 points. And that's a handful of points out of the top 5. I mean, the fact that the top 5 77, that just shows how good of a game any one of these teams could have right now to make a giant leap on the leaderboard. Yahoo specifically doing just that, finally knocking E United out of that position, who's been there since day one.
Ooh, it looks like 300 may have thought about it. They were getting a little bit more loot before from the compound just by the bridge. And yeah, now they're on foot. They're coming over here to do that bridge camp. So it looks like Young Kings managed to make their way across just in the nick of time to avoid any camping coming through from SCG. Unfortunately for Sonics, it looks like they're going to be the next ones on the bridge here as we check in with Wildcard doing the long, low wrap. Now, looking at the south side of Millie right now, Yahoo is kind of playing around on that south side. They haven't committed over by Ferry Pier, but they're all getting pretty close. And Young Kings is right on their tail as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, as we also keep an eye on what Sonics decides to do about this bridge. If there's any team in the lobby that's expecting SCG to be there, it's Sonics.
Absolutely. You can see even just the wide look. Shrimsy's keeping an eye on the coastline, trying to make sure that nobody's set up to camp on this side. And then we'll probably see a little bit of a pause and then a little scouting and maybe some people running up on the catwalk, as Mime likes to do, and maybe potentially catch them out, as you say. Dodge getting across the water for free. Nobody really watching the center right now on either side of the main island or mainland, pardon me. And then, yeah, there you go. Sonics feeling comfortable, sending Mime ahead, running for the catwalk, and then a little bit of homework.
Yeah, Dodge getting pretty lucky on that plane path, really, because usually they would have to be a little bit concerned about 22 landing over in that area, but this time around 22 having to land and loot on the western coast. So Dodge gets the shark fin for free and the boat spawns that come with it. So nice work from them here as we check Bing Bang Boom making their way over, and United in a little bit of a spot here to take some shots down. I wouldn't really call this a camp, though.
No, I think it's, if anything, I'm actually amazed that United got that position so quickly, especially in previous lobbies. Oftentimes other teams were a little bit quicker to get to Radio Tower and they'd hang out in Nova a little bit longer. But given the way that this lobby has stacked itself, United had just a free positioning up here and Kickstart using that really quick to his advantage. And he's hitting those shots with the 2x, by the way.
Of course he is, because he's Kickstart. And Kickstart is goated, and we all know this. I would prefer to see him with a better scope, but you know what? Whatever works. If it's in his hands, I expect him to hit those shots. So, checking back in with those Sonics. Looks like they've sent Shrimzy and Mime on foot to scout this out. Not sure if they've seen anything just yet. Those SCG boys, they are being real sneaky about this.
Yeah, they've pretty much held only onto the eastern side of the bridge. They didn't send anybody up. Sometimes you'll see a team that will send someone to the high ground hill just to the right side of the bridge on the western edge. And it looks like
Richie.
They haven't spotted anybody. They know that there could potentially be someone down there. In fact, Shrimzy might be going back for a second look. Not sure if he heard anything.
Yeah, Richie's being real still, real quiet right now. But Shrimzy, you could tell he's being thorough in his inspection. Oh no, the smoke didn't bloom in time. He even threw it down just in case, but it didn't bloom in time. But now, fortunately, the rest of his team is there to provide him some support. H-Win gonna knock him down low, and Mime will follow it up with a nicely placed grenade. Now, where is the rest of SCG? Nefahor will drop that smoke to keep him safe, but Vox is gonna get spotted. Nice work from Mime.
Extreme on the beach, further down by the houses, had that vantage point to get that knock onto Shrimzy. Shrimzy was so focused on Richie B. They did get caught off guard in that, but as you said, the rest of Sonic starting to move in. Tiggleton holding back on the bridge, trying to play that angle and see what damage he can do to Extreme, and the other members of SCG are still playing a little bit wider. The rest of his teammates might be able to position. Smokes are out, though. Mime making that run. Shrimzy's about to bleed out. An extra smoke just for precaution. We might be able to get a rescue mission underway just yet.
Yeah, they got to be quick, though. You can barely see it on the... Well, you can't see it on the minimap, but Tokyo Manji Gang has now arrived on the north side of this western bridge. They're slowly scouting it out and trying to figure out what's going on here. As nice shots from H-Wade will find Neff again as the res comes through, and Sonic's back up to 4 strong. But it looks like Tokyo Manji Gang are starting to send it down now, so this could be a third-party fight here very shortly.
Yeah, the decision, as you say, needs to be made quickly on how they want to handle this position, as they're not going to have a lot of coverage unless they dip under the bridge. As you can see, Colton taking shots right now. Members of Sonics were caught out in the open. And now the same play that we just saw from Sonics starting to be mirrored here at Tokyo Manji Gang. This time Zealot playing a little bit of the lead, just as we saw with Mime before. But Tiggleton underneath the bridge waiting for any member of TMG to peek, and you can hear him driving over right now.
And you throw in a fourth party onto this as well now, as Dodge has taken up the high ground just off to the side. Tiggleton, what a spot! He's gonna, I mean, what isn't Hollow My Bad? Just walk right into it. I mean, this is the difference between teams that are used to fighting on this thing and teams that just kind of showed up for the third party. Unfortunately, Tig will get taken down by Colton. You might be able to get the res onto Juarez here, as Hollow My Bad has been flushed out.
And again, going for the reses, trying to keep teammates up. They've only got 1 point so far to show for this, and that is that kill and flush onto Tiggleton. So all that work still not fully rewarded yet, and they do need to get past the bridge camp, not only through Sonics, but as you said, from Dodge, who's still in this area. Additionally as well, we didn't really get to see it, but I noticed it a second ago. Troglodytes, I believe, are on the ferry. They are taking a ferry rotation. So that said, though, this TMG fight finally starting to pop off. Mime is just going to get in a car and drive everyone away. And there you go. You can see just on the edge, that little green. That's a ferry rotation.
United getting blessed here with the dead center high ground radar tower circle, as everything on this western bridge is going to have to come to a head. Fortunately for Sonics, they are able to get out of that. They do lose Tiggleton, but keeping 3 up in that situation, real tough. I mean, there's a 4-way fight going on there for a while. Extreme, the only one left for short circuit now. And Sonic's even they're still wanting a piece of this. They don't want to leave just yet. They have the option should they decide to, but looks like Tokyo Manji Gang, they're still kind of looting up on the bridge. Dodge, they've got to start looking forward to their next move. And my eyes are drawn now down to the south, Clover, where you've got Synergy, Wildcard, Yaho, and soon Trog on the ferry.
So many teams opted for boat rotations. It's one of the reasons Troglodytes actually had to take a ferry. Is by the time they got up to ferry pier, backfilling some of those positions that rotated first, there were no more boats available to take for that position. So a little weird animation with Kill Demo right now. But you know what? He runs faster than I could ever hope to run.
He's running so fast. He's got the zoomies.
Gotta go fast.
Well, okay. The last thing, Fiuma tried to make the Eastern Bridge rotation. Bing, bang, boom. Like a half-hearted camp a little bit. I think it was more just shots more than anything. Fiuma making their way into the north side of Novo, but Young Kings is in Novo, and now Just Too Easy is arriving in Novo. Just as
do you think
Trog.
Dammit knows?
Oh, he has no idea. Oh, Danny. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, just run away. It's fine. Everything's good. Everything's good. They have other issues to worry about that they know about, which is Yaho and Wildcard. And they're not even, I don't even think they're anticipating the arrival of Troglodytes. This could be bad news bears for all of them.
Yeah, I love a good ferry rotation just because of the chaos that ensues. There's no announcement of the arrival. Most people just ignore the ferry at this point. But again, I mean, it's a resource that's there for the military island if you've got the time, and obviously it's an early enough phase you can take that risk. But as you said, right now Synergy turning their attention to Wildcard Gaming. It does make them a little bit split though. They've got two players on the other side of the beach with 22 just behind this fight that we're watching right now. 22 is focused in Team G, so many potential for third parties right now from teams that are a little bit tunnel visioned in. So Deston's taking shots at Zella, but hasn't found the knock just yet.
This is a little bit of a weird situation for 22. They did wait a little bit longer to try to make their moves, and just as they tried to, TM finally arriving from that bridge camp that we saw before, so immediately traded back as now Troglodytes has opened up and found two of Synergy right off the bat, and the rest of Synergy is trying to make their way through. Short Circuit Gaming gets eliminated. Right after that, Synergy will be eliminated as well. So the south side that we were expecting to pop off, it's finally happened.
A lot of those splits finally condensed down 22 back into a four-man stack, and that was what we just saw with Synergy. The two players that had been watching 22 actually tried to rotate back in. One got caught off by Troglodytes, the rest got found by Yaho. And now all three of those teams in the blue found themselves. Pat Caps, meanwhile, getting both Zinni and Tater. Moody helping out Palix. Attack 8 down to just one last player, but Spicy Fish is wasting no time securing those fletches. They don't want it stolen by anybody else in the area.
Oh, Hooligan gets knocked low, but Pat will get him. And that's going to be 2 in the pocket of Pat Caps. 3 kills now total for Spicy Fish. I mean, you can see just off to the north, Young Kings, Just Too Easy starting to make their way over here. This fight's still going on in the blue. So many teams still trying to figure things out in the blue zone right now, Clover, as it's just a struggle to get into this circle.
It's the chaos of Troglodytes. I think it was a factor. A lot of these teams would set up very quietly, waiting for a fight. Wasn't expecting this to really go down. Like let's be honest. Nobody looks at the ferry. So 1 kill to show for it. Rusty Zara did pick off that one member of Synergy.
Posa.
Shots right now into Adam. Does spot the knock, but he's going to use this as an opportunity to heal because again, phase 3 out in the blue, and with this much distance from the zone, they are going to tick quite a bit heavier than normal.
Yeah, they're getting dinged pretty hard here. Yaho, Yaho, this is just looking like a free lunch right now for them, as they've already got a foothold inside the circle. Shinboy's already in. Sparking going to take a little bit more blue damage before he makes his way in. They're just going to gatekeep from the inside of the circle, I imagine. Here is Nico. Oh my God, Nikos. Hello? Kill Demo?
Kill Demo? I think he looked at him and thought it was his teammate at first, but there we go. Posa is here to save the day.
Holy moly. Nico's the sneakiest boy, as they do end up getting him. But you can, look how much Trog is just, they're just burning through meds as the blue just keeps ticking away, and Yaho is in perfect position to just clean them up. I don't even know what you do here if you're Trog at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Balefrost and Rello went ahead and got a better position inside the zone. Shinboy and Sparking hanging out behind just to make sure they can keep that eye on Troglodytes. But I think now feeling confident that they're good. And now Sonics in a camping position. They're actually able to catch up TMG, who tried to drive away, drove straight into Shrimzy. Zealot's going to get flushed back out as well. And the last member looks like was still driving in military base. You can see way off in the distance, but that's also where H1 is.
I mean, man, look how wide that three-man split is from Sonics. They are basically playing as solos right now, but it's paying off pretty nicely for them as Tokyo Manji Gang just has no idea what to expect as they roll in. Colton now the last one up. E-United, I mean, we already said it off the bat. I mean, they had the Lions position here with that high ground radar tower. They no kills just yet, but I imagine they're doing some pretty nice ADR farming from range. As we wait and see, Troglodytes, looks like Yoho finally pulling away from Troglodytes, but 22 going to spot out Poonage. See if Troglodytes has enough meds to even make it back in. I don't even think they have vehicles.
I think they've just been taking all of this on by foot. As you can see, the rest of the teams that have been driving by on vehicles have been caught not only in a couple of camps right along the edge of zone, but in a few drive-bys that have been happening. The circle's going to hard shift again to the north, and that is horrible news for Troglodytes. And for those of you guys who have been watching the map, if you'd like to watch along, you can go ahead and type ' squad stream. So you can see what we're seeing. Those eyes in the sky.
Good transition there to that map stream. It's a very valuable tool as 22 does get eliminated. But yeah, Troglodytes, I mean, they came over by the ferry, so there's no way that they could have had vehicles. Looks like Rusty Zera is going to be the first one to succumb to the blue here. As I got to say right off the bat, I mean, United obviously with that high ground looking pretty good. Bing Bang Boom have the compound just off to the west. Dodge, though, Dodge is looking real nice. I mean, they have the far west right now, but there's just nothing on the north side nor northwest of this new zone. Fiumba has control over the intersection, and that's about it. Young King's going to try to make the push in, but E-United already waiting for it. Snakers will find one. Rello, Rello, icy flex from range.
It should be an easy res right now. Young King's still a little slow to rotate up this high ground. Meanwhile, Sonics pick off the final member of Tokyo Manji Gang, Colton, falling here. And so all of those kills, Sonics sitting on most of them TMG. But you can see up at the corner, and Poro, as long as I've ever watched them, Dodge love that point on this map.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are big fans of it, and they find a lot of success playing from that position as well. So not at all surprised to see them there. As we see Simply Matt and the rest of he's very far south. The rest of his boys just off to the west of Novo on those Novo hills. He should have a pretty free path to joining them. Yoho, meanwhile, still 4 strong, and they're coming in from that south side. It looks like Troglodytes down to just Necro. Everybody else has gone down to the blue, and he's probably, well, 3 first aids and 22
bandages. Did somebody, any meds on this person?
Yeah, why not? Well, this poor guy. I mean, that sucks if you're Trog. Now, that being said, they still managed to get 3 kills out of this whole deal, so, it could have been worse.
Absolutely. You know what? They gave a little bit of fun. That not only did they get the 3 kills, he said, but they also put a lot of pressure on other teams and made it, at least for us, a whole lot more fun to watch. But United, center of the circle, nice position. They've got line of sight on a lot of people, but with that distance being so large between them and the people that they're shooting at, they only have 2 kills thus far to show for this position because a lot of the teams are either getting those reses, right? Or they're just, they're not able to get the secure because somebody else is stealing it. And so it's going to be the thing that's hurting them right now. Good damage for them this game, though.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad. Looks like they spotted out Yoho here. Unfortunately for them, their next path into the next zone, I would imagine, would be north. Oh, nice spray from Snakers. Will get one. Can he get another one? They got the pans out, but it's not going to be enough to block him off. Balefrost is going to get protection from Shrimzy here, of all people, but Kickstart's going to be the one to find Bale, and Yoho, that's unfortunate for them. They just happened to run into the turret.
Oh, did that Molotov landed on him? The Molotov landing directly on Shinboy was enough. That's it for Yoho.
Yeah. Flood finishes them off with a bullet, but just like that, Yoho going down to that high ground E-United squad, and now Flood's going to find Mime as well and get the flush. So we were talking, seconds ago, E-United didn't have a whole lot of kills. Boy, that turned around real fast, didn't it?
Absolutely. And here's the thing. The circle is actually shifted away from more in favor of Fiumba. So United have the option to hold on to this high ground for one more shift, or if they want to try and find some stronger control, start to come down from that high ground and maybe push a little bit further into zone. You can see Dodge found themselves a little corner, just barely inside the circle, but Bing Bang Boom might potentially wrap this position, especially with pressure from the Sonics on the other side. So Dodge really setting up right now to make sure they're not too vulnerable.
Yeah, keeping your eyes on Dodge, obviously, but looking forward to what could happen here in the next few circles or next few minutes. United with that high ground, as we said, but the spots that they would have to be most concerned about is, I mean, Spicy Fish is in a 2-2 split, and they're actually just sending everybody up to the north. So United actually having a pretty free path down from the mountain here and off to the north. Now that they're kind of getting things taken care of. Okay, Shrimsy going to lose that 1v1 to Ethan as Sonic's now down to just H-Win. Oh, the nades are coming. It's going to be a little bit too far, but H-Win might be able to get the res here.
Yeah, the big issue obviously is the return nades, right? That's going to push Ethan back just a bit as he went ahead and bandaged that med kit back up to 100. These nades were going just too far initially. That one's going to explode right above him, but the res popping off just too late, and that's going to be a flush onto Shrimsy. So H1 now able to turn his full attention to what's going on with Dodge. Bing Bang Boom opted not to get involved in this at all. But now as Ethan and Finna, it looks like they're also going to head to zone. So they've given this up. They're going to let H1 stay as a solo, but you can see Ethan still keeping a watchful eye on his back. And I think H1 might actually just give this one up to Blue.
Yeah, it's all things considered though for the Sonics. Okay, he does go down to Ethan, but all things considered for the Sonics, for as dramatic as their round has been from the beginning, they still end up with 7 kills. So not too shabby for them, and they hit placement just on the very edge here. But looking forward, we got Dodge that they sent it down here, but that kind of opened up a spot for Just Too Easy, who made a beautiful wrap all the way from the southeast. They managed to take over this northwestern side, the northwestern compound. So that might cause some problems here for Just Too Easy shortly, as Bing Bang Boom has now moved down to the north of United, and oh man, they still get to stay up on top of there.
Oh, in this position from Bing Bang Boom, I want to bring attention to it real quick. Kickstart was looking just about as far down he could look, and he's still just barely able to see Young King. So right now, outside of the line of sight is Bing Bang Boom. They don't need to worry about United until United start to wrap down from it. But as you called out, that position that Just Too Easy have, it was in the zone up until now. Just that little bit of the dip where you can see some of those fake cars in the middle of the road. That's probably their best opportunity to coverage if they can't make it to that compound that's also for free. But with that two split of Fiumba on either side of the road, that's going to be the biggest challenge for Just Too Easy.
Yeah, that's the issue, is Fiumba's been pretty relatively silent up to now, and I mean, they kind of had to been, because the United's just been raining terror down on everybody. So Fiumba just holding on to their hard cover while United just keeps shooting at everybody here. Dodge going to try to lay the smokes down to avoid that LOS from United as they decide where their next move is going to take them. Meanwhile, United, I mean, they've only got one. Kickstart here is the only one on the high ground. You can see the rest of the boys have already started creeping down, securing a foothold on that lower ground here. I think, okay, Snakers is with them. So it's too high, and now it's shortly going to be too low for United.
Okay, Spicy Fish. This could be huge for Just Too Easy as well. If Spicy Fish take this fight early, as you can see, the smokes are out throwables. That's going to pull all the attention of Fiumba in this direction. DraftKing as well. They've also watching that rotation on Dodge. So 3 teams making moves in Fiumba's little corner they've got for themselves.
Ooh, Snakers actually has some kind of an angle here on the. Look at this angle.
Oh
no,
it's nasty.
Dodge tried to find somewhere to play, but they only have the one US to their name. And look at a grenade from Ikus. Is going to be enough to take out 2, finish off 1, as Dodge is just slowly starting to bleed out there. There was just nothing that looked good once they gave up that high ground. Once they lost that spot where Just Too Easy was, it just kind of went away. So unfortunate there for them. They might be able to get these reses off right now. It just depends on how many smokes they have left. Or really, it's just all these guys. How many smokes do they have left? Can they keep alive? Well, look at Snakers already. There you go. Breaks 1k damage and gets another knock on a Hikerman.
Well, and you have to remember, too, that Dodge really expended a lot of utility on that Sonics wrap that happened just a little ways ago. So they're starting to run thin, especially at this point now as they're taking pressure from not only Bing Bang Boom United, but Just Too Easy. Fiumba also had eyes on that. But that Spicy Fish push that was happening towards Fiumba is actually now being third-partied by United. Snakers and Kickstart with the high ground, but Rello and Flood had creeped just outside of that compound. You could see just that angle that Snakers has, though, is just about everybody that's not in the Fiumba compound is vulnerable at this point.
This is brutal. This is that Miramar high ground game all over again for United. Is Just Too Easy does get wiped out. And new circle pops, and they are finally going to have to leave that high ground spot. Now, they do have Rello and Flood already working low, but keep in mind, Bing Bang Boom is down there. And as you said, they haven't been able to farm damage down onto them as much as they have the other guys here. Is Flood, he's getting close to 1K damage. Kickstart getting close to 1K as well. These guys, they're going to have 4K damage amongst the four of them here by the end of this thing. It's nuts.
And then with the sacrifice of Dodge at the end, Fiumba are actually going to break back out. They still need to worry about Simply Matt, who is simply always the last player still alive for this team. I think he's got 9 lives when it comes to this game. But as you can see, though, he doesn't have a lot of options on where to go. Come on, bud. Press the volt button.
We got it. We got it. Well, this is what happens when you bind W to spacebar, you know?
Oh. I jump with spacebar. I'm a spacebar jumper.
You mean you're like 99% of the population, and it's kind of wild. Simply Matt, one of the only people I've ever heard of that uses space for W, but you know, it's because of some old FPS he used to play back in the day. I can't remember which one it was. I'd have to hit him up about it again, but we'll see if he can do some more damage here to Fiumba. He's giving them fits for the most part. They can't get rid of him, and the problem is they're moving around trying to find angles to take him out, but when they do that, they immediately get roasted by Bing Bang Boom or E United. But here's the fight I'm more concerned about here. E United versus Bing Bang Boom. They've already lost one. Rello is knocked.
Oh, there you go. Gets the final one. Snaker, 13 kills right now for E United. As you see, Roth falls to that Molotov. That's also allowing, though, Young Kings to walk right up. Now that Simply Matt is dead, Fiumba can finally turn their attention to recovery, getting that res onto Capitan, but they don't quite have the line of sight fully on the fight that's happening up the hill. E United trying to keep that pressure from Young Kings as they tried to wrap up the mountain. Young Kings still available as well to Fiumba as a 3-man fight for the victory.
They get the knock on the Snakers to open things up. Smoke wall laid down on the street right now to kind of give some concealment here to E United. As Young Kings, they're flashing, but they're not pushing, so the res should be able to come through. Relo gonna keep an eye on his backside. Good work by the IGL to make sure that Fiumba can't backfill them while they're not looking.
Amy had found an angle, but you could see he got punished for it just a little bit, so he's going to pull back down the hill and use that as an opportunity to pop off a first aid kit. But United now not taking their eyes off as they know that this is going to be the angle most likely that Fiumba will continue to push from. Meanwhile, as you can see, the remainder members, Rebo, as well as Capitan, wrapping around more towards Young Kings. So United, though, also to note, the only team right now with all 4 players still standing. And just, I mean, they've still got so much utility left. They've got Kickstart with some smokes. They've got plenty of bullets, good armor. I mean, that's the health you want to come into the final fight with.
They're in a tough spot here, though. I mean, even though they are 4 strong, Fiumba, they can just kind of sit back and wait on this low side. No, they'll find Relo. That's bad news for E United. They can just sit and wait for E United and Young Kings to fight, and then Fiumba just comes in and cleans all of this up. So Fiumba actually, I would argue, the best position to win this game here at the end.
And Flood is just going to take an option to try and see if he can find a better angle here onto members of Young Kings RDS just on the other side of the fence. You can see joined with And1 FPS. It's just, as he's called it, it's a waiting game. We're really taking this one slowly. Phase 8, it's another 40 seconds until it closes before we even move forward to Phase 9. And neither one of these teams want to give up the high ground because, as you called it, that vulnerability towards Fiumba, who've just spread their attention wide down on the low ground. But there you go. Snakers finding an opening knock onto RDS. Kickstart waiting for the call to make the run right as a teammate moves. Looks like a 2v2, a full push down the hill. And when FPS finds one, finds two, Kickstart and Flood both fall. There's nowhere left to go. E United eliminated. but with a giant chunk of kills. And now, just like that, the dinner bell has rung. Fiumba running for the final finish here.
Oh man, they had to make the aggressive push. They got the knock. They did exactly what they had to do, but they just lost track of Andy. And boy, what a great shooting, great spray transfers from Andy. Did exactly what he needed to do. And here you go, as we said, Fiumba, they were just in the driver's seat of this one. All they have to do is find Andy, but he's been sneaky. So we'll see if Andy can do something here. He actually has a little path to wrap around on the low side. All he has to do, if he can turn this into a series of 1v1s, he might have a shot. Fiumba needs to be careful. Rybo.
Oh, no. Oh, he's turning his back down to 19 HP. Does get spotted out, and Fiumba. Well, you say that one better. 9 kills to the victory. So congratulations. What a wild Millie finish. I've got to admit, I was so close. I thought for a second United had it there. Traditionally, they do so well on military circles. We could see that as a prime example. But congratulations to our 2 LATAM strong teams that really been coming out this tournament.
Young Kings has been really impressing me this tournament, or at least this weekend so far. I mean, they've been looking aggressive. They've been looking really just smart. I mean, honestly, well, some things that they do, I'm like, okay, that's a little bit troll, but you know what? It's working. So if it's working and it's getting you points, that's smart, you know. And obviously, it sucks for United that they lose that one. They were, I mean, we brought it up. They were in the bad position going into that final 3-team kind of square off there. But at the end of the day, I think 2 of those guys broke 1,000 damage, maybe. I mean, and just a boatload of kills. So fantastic work by United again to kind of. I think they may have re-secured first place after that one.
Yeah, it's definitely been a close run, but we are going to go to a quick break, guys. When we get back, the desk is going to break down that match for you, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to ESL PUBG Masters. Game 2 is done, and the military circle became a very real thing. Cameron, I know you're open for it.
Yeah, and listen, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Once we saw United on the top of that tower, we knew it was going to be a big game for them, but that's why it was such a shock that Fiumba and Young Kings were actually able to stop them right before the finish line. This was supposed to be one of EU United. I mean, it was still ultimately a really big game for EU United, but not getting that win, I think, was a little bit of a surprise.
Now, Matt, Fiumba, did you think they were going to win?
Good. Yeah, well, I didn't until I saw all of EU United just die in half a second. So that kind of opened up the doors for things. And, you know, Ken was over here talking about it like being surprising. I'm willing to bet EU United was pretty surprised by that push as well. So
interesting. We're going to talk about it.
Interesting game.
We're going to talk about it, United in specific, so keep that in mind as we watch the highlights. Was it a good go or a bad throw?
Oh, Cam, now the questions start to mount. Over here, you can see that there's going to be the firefight that breaks out, and I loved the spray from Tig. It was so good. And then the immediate follow-up to it was not as happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they were aware of SCG. SCG are known bridge campers. So I'm not surprised at all that I wouldn't be surprised if they were actively waiting for them. And then TMG also, of course, coming across
this is
the
so
bridge.
good. This is what we've been wanting to see from Spicy Fish as well. This 1-2 punch coming out from Moody and so strong. And then this split, we were kind of having a conversation about. This is a very peculiar split that we don't see a lot. As you can see, H1 on there is all the way over at the hangar.
You say that. This doesn't look as out of the realms of possibility for me.
No, I mean, it's a good hold. It's
you.
just very uncommon to see.
Yeah, but either way, they're taking control of the space. They're doing a good job at that. They know that it's going to be impossible to push United on the high ground. Even look at what happened to Yoho when they made an attempt at it. I mean, I think everyone at this point knew that this was going to be United's game to, if not win, get a whole bunch of points off of it. It was all up to teams like Sonics, like Yoho, to just do whatever they could of cleaning up their edge, of cleaning up the teams that were even slower than them before they then tried to climb Mount Olympus.
I mean, there was just E United highlight after E United highlight coming into this one. I know there's a Molotov on the way. Where's it coming from? Because Shimboy, he thought he was safe. Then that fire spreads up, and not so much. And this was kind of indicative for the game for a while, until we hit this stage with our top three, and you can see that low area position where Young Kings was trying to hold up at. They had RDS down. E United thought that they could run in, and man, that defensive hillside was just so strong in that wide open street.
Yeah, I mean, United had the expectation they were just going to run over. They got that knock with the grenade. They were going to run over 3 versus 2, bing, bang, boom. Like, finish the phrase, not the team, bish, bash, bosh, whatever, and just sort of wipe all of it. But And1 was there to knock 2 of them out immediately. It was immediately how quickly we got those kills.
Well, they stood in a line. Just because your name's United doesn't mean you have to stand arm in arm pushing down the road. But ultimately, they get 13 kills from the high ground. 18 points is going to look good for them. Fiumba with the big 19 and the win. Young Kings continues to look good. Overall standings, United takes the lead from Yoho. It's becoming a bit of a 1-2. Yoho took it back in the last game. United took the radar tower and said, not today, as they come back in a very big way. This, though, is kind of what I've been waiting to see, Cam. United back on form.
Yeah, I mean, what a game to sort of get them back there as well. This is the type of game that they're almost famous for rounds like this. I called it at Circle 2 that they were going to win this game, right? Like we've had so many rounds, historical rounds throughout the history of PCS of this roster, no matter what the team goes by, of having a strong performance there. They're back on top. Those 15, 16 ranked with 0 kills. We're not going to be seeing any more of those, or at least very few more of those, I think.
Well, we may not. The circle is still unknown, but game 3 is about to get underway. We're going to head back to our last match on Orangle for the day with your casters, Porosaurus and Clover.
Thank you very much, Toffees. And I'm deep in conversation with our stats guy to figure out how many chickens high I am. And I need to know how we've determined.
Was it 70 centimeters? Is as tall as a chicken is? Do you know how tall you are? I'm 172 centimeters.
Are chickens legal in Texas?
He's going with a 70 centimeter tall chicken, which feels like a really big freaking chicken, man.
It's like the Avenger of chickens.
Like that's a huge chicken.
I mean, you're a tall dude. You could be a lot of tall chickens tall.
I mean, I guess I don't mess around with chicken. I don't realize how big they really are. So this is all assuming chickens lined.
Well, you got to ask: is it a broaster chicken? Is it a Rex Goliath chicken? Is it
a rooster? Because roosters, if you've ever encountered one, those things are like terribly mean. They will like just attack you.
Look, we're getting really in the weeds on the poultry debate here, but I will say that I've been given. Somebody asked early how many chickens wide is Military Island, and it's roughly around 4,300. So if you put 4,300 chickens back to, or well, I guess head to toe, that'll get you across.
That's what I like about you, Poro. You bring in the hard-hitting analysis that nobody else does.
See, I actually don't like this because if 70 centimeters is a chicken, I'm only 2.5 chickens tall. And guys, I feel like
like you deserve to be more than 2 chickens.
Yeah, that is a little small. When you put it that way,
person. You guys just make me look short because y'all are so tall.
Like it's just really big chickens. All right, like look, we'll get more in depth as we go, but I got to get to the bottom of this whole chicken quandary as quickly as possible. But well, we'll take it from here, guys. Thank you so much for joining us and engaging with us on this foul discussion.
Oh.
There you go. You're welcome, Toffees. But we saw the plane cut across Military. Looks like for the most part everybody's going to be safe and secure early on, Clover, and our circle. We get to go all the way down to the southwest. Are we going to get Quarry? Is that what we get now?
You know, I had a whole lot of Quarry circles recently, and I got to tell you, the team that was one of the most ones to watch or fun to watch with Quarry was the Sonics. So I'm wondering if this is going to be what they need to jump back in the league, because we've been talking about United, we've been talking about Yahoo. The Sonics have been pretty modest with a lot of their games. I haven't really seen as many double-digit kills from them as we sometimes expect. They've been taking things a little slow and methodical, putting the damage in, but not necessarily fleshing out the kills, oftentimes ending games with only 4 or 5 kills. So going Quarry, my eyes are on them for performance, as well as, Wildcard, because that is also a place where they have historically finished really well. And if United can keep control of the East, another good potential for them to also rack up a lot of kills, because they like to wrap around that East and Southeast position.
Yeah, I've definitely got my eyes on a couple of teams in particular here as we start kind of getting close to the end of week 1. Teams that I was definitely looking at to have a big performance here. We start basically at this point. We start thinking about PGC points, right? And I think coming into this tournament, we'll touch on that here in a minute. Is Short Circuit Gaming actually pulling into Synergy, and it looks like Synergy got a nice wrap on them, but Extreme will find Pippa to open things up.
Typically, Synergy are already just a bit south of this. They take that high ground ridgeline. But as you can see, Extreme and the rest of Short Circuit Gaming rotated too quickly before Synergy left that compound. And now 1 kill so far to show for it. That nade could be good enough to start pushing the last few members outside of that compound. And you can see they're just trying to get as much distance away from them as possible. And Short Circuit Gaming was anticipating this, waiting for Dammit to peek the window. They've got all but 1 player. Silzen is coming down from the hillside, but it's too late, and he is going to let them take that compound.
Out you go. Clean. Good stuff from SCG there, and that's something they needed. I don't know if this is the compound I would go to if I was a
This is the compound Sonics like to squat at, so this could still mess things up for them depending on where that phase pops.
This is definitely a popular compound. If I'm playing as a solo, I'm probably going to take a shack somewhere out just off to the west of this. But you know what? I'm not Silzen, so Silzen gets to do whatever he wants to. He was pretty dang good in PNC for that Argentina squad. And we'll see if he can do something here as a solo for the Synergy boys. But yeah, going back to what we were talking about before, right? The PGC point discussion. There was I had my eyes strictly on specifically on this team right here, Bing Bang Boom, and Wildcard, and to an extent 22 as well, as teams that stood the most to gain from Luminosity not making the finals here. And obviously we Luminosity not making a big shock, whatever. We can talk about that more and see the repercussions of that. But so far, it's not going too bad for LG. Like Bing Bang Boom is sitting, I think they came into today sitting in 8th, Wildcard sitting in 11th. The two teams that had the most to gain kind of remove themselves from LG, put themselves above or pass or put themselves a little bit farther above, not having the best tournament so far. Now, obviously there's still another week left to play, but Bing Bang Boom and Wildcard, man, they kind of start getting going here pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, because as you say, we've already got our PGC point leaders. Those are the ones that have performed well at ESL 1, PCS. There we go. PCS. So we really love our acronyms. And
we do.
You know, with that, when you come into a tournament, you already know they're ahead of you. Those people, if they just point sponge, that's going to keep helping you out because it's not going to shake up where your position is. But it's the people that, as you said, that you need to leap now in the leaderboard a little bit more closer in standing in terms of the points you have and the points you need to gain. ESL does give less points than what PCS 7 will be giving at the end of the year. But as you called, Luminosity being out gives those teams that opportunity to push them out. Now, Dodge, that happened to them last year. They missed one event, and that was enough to cost them that opportunity to go at the end of the year. And so you know that's got to be a lot of the driving force and motivation, the way that they've been playing this event.
I mean, wild card as well. I mean, there you go. Oldest, they'll start off by getting a point there in the kill feed as we check in with Dodge. But Dodge, another, you had Dodge and wild card were two teams that were really, really close. They had a shot at getting to PGC at the end of last year, obviously wildcard being gas cans at that time, and they kind of fell just short. And so you got to imagine now as we're coming towards the end of the year here, things are getting pretty tight in that PGC point leaderboard. That has to be at the top of mind for these guys. Maybe not at the top of mind. Obviously, these guys are concerned with the game in front of them and the tournament in front of them first. But it has to be at least in the back of mind and kind of considering what happened last year. So.
Yeah, and too, I mean, LATAM obviously has their own PGC point debacle. You know, we do get one guaranteed squad that gets to go, but that doesn't mean that only one squad can go. If LATAM continues to perform really well, there's always the possibility that 2 or 3 teams could potentially end the year in a position with a lot of PGC points. Right now we're seeing that with performance from Fiumba, performance from Young Kings, 22, as you called out earlier, not quite what we were expecting from them, but if they can put down the points this event and maybe even have a better showing at PCS 7, that could turn the tide of just sneaking one extra team in.
That's it's incredibly optimistic. Is what I'll leave. But you know what? Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? Probably not. But, I mean, 22 having kind of a poor performance here is opening the door for sure for some of these other teams that are on the chase, for some of these other Latin American teams that maybe missed a tournament at some point in this year to try to make that catch up. And especially teams like Just Too Easy, who have kind of, I mean, Just Too Easy to a lesser extent, but Young Kings, I mean, teams that have made these roster moves, these roster changes, and now we're kind of seeing basically just a new, better performance coming out, I guess. More fragging, less MC, more just everything. And these guys are making changes and making moves to try to improve their placements now that we're back into this super format. And I think we're starting to see the payoff, man. Like we haven't, unfortunately, Calnix. I haven't really seen Calnix pop off. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry about half the map not being visible there, guys, but we're good. There we go. As we see the circle pop. And of course, it's going to go even farther to the West Coast, Clover.
So we only need half the map now, Poro. The rest is in water.
Yeah, that's all we need. And Tokyo Manji Gang, look at you.
But you know, as you say, it's a lot of opportunities for growth and change. We've seen a difference in the way that LATAM has been playing these lobbies. When we look at the way they played last year, there was a lot of just W keying it early on fights, scraps, and things that I sometimes felt like they stayed too long in a fight when they could have broken away and tried to play better from the late game. That's the kind of mindset that we're seeing from this team more. They've obviously bringing some of their region's meta into the combined region, but they're really taking control back. And as I say that, some LATAM on LATAM violence. Capitan with the drive-by, taking a knock onto Rarita. Gonna go ahead and drive over, see if he can get that flush. Bing, bang, boom in the area. This is not a bad idea here. I mean, we're seeing a lot of kill stealing this event.
Hey, I want to be quick about it. That's the thing more than anything. I mean, I think that's the thing that at international events definitely takes a lot of guys off guard, is how quickly those knocks get flushed. So the more that you get used to immediately getting into that habit of not instantly flushing your kills or flushing any knocks that you happen to see, the better off you'll be. There's Waikakamukau will do just that to his knock there on Nefahor. His region mate.
Do you think any of these pros? Oh, there you go. Yeah, I think this is the right call here. There you go. Wildcard getting back in the vehicle, repositioning, and finding a bit. Let's see if they can get that split closed back up. Potentially, it looks like that's the call.
I like this spot.
All right, they've got some safety here.
Yeah, I like this spot for wildcard. They were kind of playing around in the 2-2 split with this compounding in the west side of Quarry, but I like kind of getting everybody settled in right here, and it's on the south side. A lot of times these circles do end up kind of favoring going north from this point on, so playing from that south to north using those hillsides I think will work out in wildcard's favor. We'll just have to keep an eye on them, as now they are joined on that south side by Dodge, and Yaho should be heading in there shortly as well, as they're kind of hanging out in Primoris. You see Dodge on the move here.
This is an interesting position. A couple of teams have really held on to this far edge. United have taken really wide wraps on this before, but also in the past I've seen TAC8 play for this position. Right now, both United and TAC8 being on the opposite side of the circle do open things up for Dodge. The issue, obviously, is they're pinched entirely between Wildcard and 22, and if either one of these teams tries to pressure that, Dodge doesn't have a lot of coverage beyond these cars.
Spicy Fish were on that north side, but it looks like they scouted out and saw how packed it was, so they're opting instead to just send it back. They'll make a wrap around on that eastern side, which the only team really kind of over in that direction is T8. Okay, never mind. They're just gonna. I'm not sure what Spicy Fish is doing right now, to be honest. They pulled back to the north, and now they're sending it right back in, as PatCap's going to be the first one. He's going to find two of Bing Bang Boom hiding in the dip, but they won't get the knock on him just yet. Looks like he'll feed that information over the rest of the boys and say, hey, maybe avoid that dip, or you know what? Screw it, crash it. Why not?
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess there you go. No time to crash it, because the circle is going to shift further down to the south. And poor, we're pulling far away from the swamp. Still into play, but now it is a lot of beach and open road. This is going to be a tough spot to be in for a lot of these teams.
This is brutal, man. I mean, usually we do see them kind of end up in this direction, but a lot of times, like, it's not this far west. I mean, we can, on our map screen, we can barely even see what's going on here off to the west, on the western coast, because it's just the map being as it is so far out there. So Troglodytes on the move. You can see just off in the distance. Sonics will find a little spot right here, but they're sharing it with two of Fiumba. Now, if you're Fiumba, you've got a very big decision to make right here. Do you try to get these two out, or do you try to bring the other two in? And this is going to be something we have to keep our eye on. It looks like Trog is centered up just on the top of Dodge.
Ooh, Finna with a headshot onto Necro. It's actually going to be a trade. Finna falls down here, but that nade from distance. Posa getting 1-2 knocks in that. Ethan and Hikerman. Not really, again, with a lot of coverage. This was the fear we were worried about. We just didn't aim for Troglodytes being the one to push this here. But now with Attack 8 wrapping in behind Troglodytes, it's the time to strike. Dodge trying to see if they can get a knock here. Hikerman laying into Posa, but didn't find anything from this position.
Oh, fights going on all over the place here as T8, in the meanwhile, takes care of a number of the duo from Spicy Fish that had managed to make their way in. The other duo still off to the north, as you see Simply Mac gonna get spotted out here. Trog having to slow down now that they've taken two knocks. Gats does get rezzed, and they do lose Finna. The smoke cloud keeping things alive here, as Dodge keeping Hikerman on the lookout. Nice Molotov going to come through. Hiker, oh, he's on fire. Oh, he's big on fire. He's got to back up, but he's backing up right into the range of Posa. Nice shooting coming out from the kid.
Gats having to pop that first aid kit, 45 health, but just realizing, you know what, there's no time here. Troglodytes is trying to drive by, but at a drive-by is exactly what's happening. Necro landing one shot. Let's see Ethan, all hands on him. Getting a little bit of help now. There we go. That is it for Troglodytes. Just so easy. Also eliminated believe it was at range. District 22 was also helping. Meanwhile, here you go, the E United wrap with SCG.
There's a lot of things going on right now. We saw Moody drown himself rather than give points away as Bing Bang Boom now pushing into Sonic's compound. Nice spray from Keenan will get mimed down. Tiggleton knocked a little bit low here. He's going to have to pull off that balcony. Shrimzy now on his own, having to dodge and weave from these long-range grenades coming through. Nothing finding home just yet as Mime is slowly bleeding out. I don't think Shrimzy's going to be able to go for him while these utility keeps coming in. Yep, there you go. Roth is going to be the one that gets Keenan just pushing through. Doesn't realize, though, that Shrimzy is in that smoke cloud that he just ran through.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I thought we might have gotten a drive. It looks like, no, they don't realize Shrimzy's there at all. Sharp shot left his back to him. Oldless is going to be completely taken out, but they're at angle. Oh, Win accidentally shooting at his own teammate, I think, trying to catch what was the last player. There you go. The flush comes out. Shrimzy. Oh, this is a tough place to be in for him. Keenan spots him out, though. Finds Keenan. That. Ooh, finds the knock. The trade comes out. H-Win. Can he get Shrimzy up in time?
Good work from H-Win to support his teammate there, and Sonics do end up winning the 4v4 battle against Bing Bang Boom, but again, they paid a heavy cost here as they're knocked down to 2 once again, and they have to get on the move as the circle did pop way off to the south. You can see United, this is on the far eastern side of the circle. SCG just on their south. They've got 22 creeping into their north, but they do have this hard cover to play around. You can see Waikik and Mukau, the rest of Wildcard, also have a little bit of an angle down here. In their PIP, you can see Tokyo Manji Gang trying to hold off a push from Young Kings.
Wade's really running to avoid some of that throwable damage. Zealot does get taken down by RDS 149, and TMG not looking so hot right now as even at angle, Fiuma also with eyes on this, and so they're putting damage into that fight, but you can see Colton holding the window is going to land a couple more shots at the members of Young Kings and 1 FPS still on his toes, but Iku's going to keep that pressure, push Colton back to another room just in time, too, because you can see as Sonic's driving past all of this, breaking that attention of Fiumba away from this fight, giving TMG a time to recover.
And unfortunately for Sonics, they will lose. H-Win Shrimzy has to pull out. Looks like he might have escaped right now. Fiumba's still taking shots over in that direction. Yaho, meanwhile, have the biggest split on Earth going on right now. Shinboy and Balefrost crept over to that Tokyo Manji Gang compound to see if they can maybe spot out somebody from range. Didn't like what they were seeing, so they'll pull back away. Poonage actually getting knocked here. That's not good for them. They've got nobody, no teammates anywhere near. Sparking holding that low side, that south side, while Wildcard still has yet to leave their compound. We were talking about how we really liked that compound that they're in. They have not had to push out just yet, but as soon as they do, they're going to have a couple of Yaho boys right on the other side.
Yeah, that position the Yaho have is such a strength on defending not only anybody else that might try to play the south, but if Wildcard, as you can say, leave that compound, the best option for them is to wrap up the ridgeline. But right now it is a battle of shacks. As you can see, Colton trying to hold this angle, spotting Rebo, is still on the roof. You can see, I mean, really, they just can't quite get the window. Oh, little shots into Zealot, but he just, I mean, he's trapped inside this building. His teammates can't get assistance to help him. Well, we might get some assistance from Fiumba as Rebo and DraftKing are actually going to rotate back around this. The circle hard shifts to the south, and that means that this fight has to wrap up now.
Wide open fields to end this one off, and Yaho does get that res on a Poonage, so they'll be able to get first priority on wherever they want to play here, as it looks like TM, they're just holding ground here, waiting for Young Kings to make a move, and it might be, as you said, Fiumba that forces Young Kings play here. As you can see, they're keeping eyes hard peeking these windows. The damage coming through, but nothing knocks. No knocks coming out just yet other than because as it looks like he's not going to be able to get res to Psycho and RDS. They've just got the smoke wall laid down, trying to cut off Colton's sight lines as they decide how they want to push this. DraftKing, meanwhile, I'm not sure if that's his smoke or somebody trying to smoke him out as he's kind of working that high ground. It looks like Shinboy now has come down, found an angle onto DraftKing. So this is like a 5-way fight going on in this compound, and it all has to come to a head here very shortly.
Yeah, Shinboy just completely broke away from the rest of the Yaho boys. They're still focused on Wildcard. The problem for Wildcard right now, E United crashing into their compound, trying to use that as an opportunity to get into zone. There wasn't really any any chance. They know that Wildcard was here, and you can see that Snakers is going to fall now to a vehicle explosion. Adam gets one, and Flood, Rello, the only two still up, in a car, badly beaten. And yes, they've escaped Yahoo. Yes, they've escaped Wildcard, but now they're just on the other side of the ridge from Dodge. And you can see 22 also the line of sight. They haven't come into zone yet, and 22 are going to run into the same problem. They don't have an open lane.
I think the thing on the eastern side of this circle that's throwing a lot of these teams off is the teams that had compounds, the teams that they're just waiting. They're waiting so long. I think United just assumed that whatever team was in that compound would have made the move to the hill already, but unfortunately for them, Yahoo was there to stop them down. There you go, Dodge gonna get finished off. Tokyo Manji Gang will go down as well, as this fight finally did come to a head, and it's gonna be Fiumba that's the big beneficiary off of all of it.
I mean, Fiumba really taking the time to not only watch that compound, but use the perfect moment to strike, got them in the perfect position. And talking about perfect positions as well, TAC-8 have been using this advantage onto 22, who just haven't been able to get into the circle safely, and potentially running into the same fate that the rest of the teams that just wrapped in this position also suffered. But you can see barely on the minimap, Yahoo, Balefrost wrapping in on the backside of that. So we've got 4 teams now stacked in this area. But talking about these two, the last 2 members of Young Kings, that fight that took so long between them and Tokyo, they're trapped now with Fiumba, all eyes on them.
Somebody give Tater some more rounds, man. He is hitting those he's hitting those bolty shots right now. It is working for him. And T8 once again 4 up into the late game. They're playing for this northeastern side. They're cleaning up everything that's coming out here. Wildcard finally had to leave, and they are just getting ripped apart. Greg shot the last one up as Yahoo's just taking this high side. There you go, Wildcard finished off. Yahoo, like we said, had that western side. Look at TAC-8 again. 9 kills. They are finding some work here today.
This is the same position I've really seen TAC-8 be comfortable in, but you can see now this split. Remember, they sent Shinboy out early. Now they sent Poonage off to play a bit of another angle on this. It's not only going to give them that line of sight on Fiumba. Poonage right now is insurance towards Fiumba, but that means that the rest of Yahoo can focus on making sure TAC-8 have nowhere else to go, which then means they can turn all their attention and resources to Fiumba. That is the mindset that I believe is going on here right now.
I think kind of slowing down here a little bit. Yahoo's going to take over the center of the circle with Shinboy and Poonage. Let's see if they can find little angles here onto Fiumba. You see what they're working with. Oh, there you go, Poonage. We'll find Rybo. Should be able to get the flush as well. As Rybo just kind of dancing around. Ooh, Shinboy gonna find Capitan. It's a spot out from DraftKings. What a spray from Shinboy. Not gonna get it though. As DraftKings strikes back, sparking now very low.
Nade.
As T8 not going down without a fight. What a nade from Palix. As T8, they are having a dream weekend so far.
TAC-8, 10 kills. They broke the double-digit barrier, and Poonage now the last up for Yahoo. As you can see, continue to take whatever throwables he's got left into this fight. Spots out DraftKings, gets the knocks. Fiumba has melted down. He might be able to get off this res, but he's got to act very quickly. TAC-8's just on the other side, and time is of the essence. If Zenny sends it ahead with the vehicle and see if he can spot out exactly where TAC-8 is. And this is the issue right now. TAC-8, they've got 4 strong, and they're setting up to really trap in Yahoo.
I mean, this is setting up so nice for TAC-8. And look at their points, Clover. If we would have said at the beginning of this weekend that through almost 15 games, TAC-8 would be in contention for the lead in this entire lobby, you would have thought we were crazy. But they have absolutely delivered. And they are putting on a performance here in game number 3. Can they secure the victory, though, as Poonage will... Oh, Poonage has him spotted out. But good return fire. Tater going to be able to drop down and get those heals off.
I mean, a win for TAC-8 would put them into 4th place firmly with 100 points. As you see, Poonage and Balefrost, this wide split has actually pushed TAC-8 all into one position, with the exception of Zenny, who's now closing back in to help. The fall of Hooligan... Tater's going to send it up to that UAS. Use it for additional cover. Try to look for a line of sight on Balefrost. Isn't going to see it. Both Balefrost and Poonage completely wrapping around that coverage from the UAS is not going to do anything. And it looks like Zenny has been spotted out. Balefrost finds that knock. That could be big in terms of pinching the remaining members of TAC-8 in between 2 players of Yahoo. Oh, Tater goes down, but it's a trade.
There you go. Big trade coming through from TA right now. And Balefrost and Zenny in the 1v1. Zenny using that hard cover. He's going to try to use the flashbang to keep Balefrost at bay, but the flashes trade here. But all Zenny needs to do is waste Bale's time, and while the rest of TA gets in a good position to give him some support, and it is working a charm right now as Balefrost realizing what happens.
Oh,
and
the flashbang.
Tactical 8 get the win.
I mean, the really big attempt there at the last second you saw trying to make that run for Zinni at the tree, but ultimately the flashbang from the rest of the Tech 8 teammates stopping him in his tracks, making it easy for that final kill. Tech 8, gorgeous. 12 kills in that win there, Poro.
And that was very well earned. I mean, hard fought, well earned stuff from Tech 8, but they have found a formula that is working absolutely perfectly for them. They're avoiding all the early game nonsense. They're playing edge, and they're playing cautious. They're playing safe for the first half of the game, and then it's like as soon as the second half kicks in, the switch flips, and they are out there. They are fragging, and they are finding so many good fights, so many advantageous fights for them, and it's working out so well.
Well, and they're able to come out of those fights healthy. I mean, Zenny, again, playing great angles. Tater always in the vanguard position. It really holds as almost even a front anchor so that the rest of the team can really flare out behind him. You know, our flying V formation, so to speak, that we've been seeing more and more from TAC A. It's been, as you say, working for them, getting through the mid-game strong, coming out with those higher kill games, and now obviously finding that chicken dinner that they so desperately needed. So great job for TAC 8 that game.
It's so much fun watching this team. I mean, again, I'll take the L here. I had them listed as the 16th team in my power rankings, and but at the same time, I said I was really excited to see them play. I wanted to see what they could do in this international lobby and in this grand finals lobby. And man, it is so fun. It's so exciting to watch these guys deliver, and I can't wait to see what they can bring here to Miramar as we're about to make that switch over. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. But before we do that, I want to let you know that maybe your team could be the next TAC 8. Open qualifiers are getting, registration rather, is open for PCS 7. Open qualifiers start on August 10th, so make sure to sign up at na.pubgesports.com for your chance at PGC points and $250,000 in prize money. So go and check out na.pubg.esports right now. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, our analyst will break down that Tactical 8 victory.
Welcome back. That was game 3 and the end of Erangel as we get ready to move to the desert. My name is Toppies. I'm here with Matchroom and Cammy D, and the victory goes to Tactical 8, a team who, unlike Poro, I did not put in 16th place, I'm proud to say. Matt,
Where'd you
are
put
you
them?
surprised by it?
Yeah, I know. I want to know where you put them.
I forgot to fill out the paperwork. Matt, how did you...
What's up, dude? Yeah, we're winners for this. Suck it, Poro.
Matt, have you been surprised by their performances?
Yes, I will say that. Going after what we saw in the group stages, I thought it was really well done. We sometimes see teams that do well in the group stage, Tokyo Manji Gang, that don't necessarily carry over to whenever we get everybody together with Latin America. That said, TAC 8 is performing consistently.
Yeah. Yeah, no, their control of space. I said this before already today, and I'm surprised that I'm saying it again. I hit them so hard after that first round when they got second against Yahoo because I'm like, this is a really good one, but this could be the high of the day. Apparently not. Apparently not.
Well, that may not have been the high of the day, but I've got highlights
there
for
it is.
today.
Yep. Okay, so let's be real. We know what this is going to be about,
highlight,
and this is going to be about the
shift.
rotation. Right here tells you everything you need to know about what's going to happen with the rest of this game, because from here on out, run.
Well, the whole problem that we saw these teams try and maneuver around is the fact that west of this bridge, this sort of everyone's fighting over the swamp area because anything west is going to be right out in the open outside of the compound, and that was already a big fight between Fiuma, who is the Young Kings, and TMG.
So good with Shrimsy, goes out, plays the outside of the smoke, comes back through this one. I mean, this is just so well read. Takes the nade damage off of it. And look how he plays the smoke and plays the vehicle, finding Oldus on the other side of it. That's like a present for him. He didn't even know that was there.
But whether you knew or not, it's just a clear finish on the way out. Keenan down to 1 HP, gets taken out. A good, I mean, it was a decent hold by the Sonics, but again, everyone's just committing to these fights in these compounds because there's not much left to go. We saw, it was actually really funny throughout this section of the game, essentially, to see Yahoo send one person out, then they come back, send another person all the way out, then they come back.
Yeah.
And they were, they were doing their best to control that wide, the entirety of phase 6 is what it felt like. But Tactical 8 were able to keep all 4 up. That's really their win condition here. It's such a cliche to say, oh, we focus on keeping all 4 into the late game. But that's how you would win a game exactly like this. Yahoo had taken a lot more fights. They were maneuvering around all over the place. And that kind of meant that they were able to get taken out one at a time. And Tactical 8 could just roll on in. It was a very, very good attempt with the lower man count from Yahoo to try and get the surround, to get those angles. But 4v2.
It was a big play, putting Zenny down there to force a 1v1 that he just stalled on Balefrost and allowed the removal of Punage and then all full force to come after him. Tactical 8 played that very well and get the reward for it. They come out with 23 total points, which will continue their climb as they get to the top 4. Yahoo, however, retakes the lead. Matchup, it's a back and forth.
I love it. We were kind of worried that it might be a blowout with E United on their first day, but good guy E United coming in here and having not the best second day, so that means it could be a race. Sonics also staying pretty competitive in this. We are still one good game away for even them, and TAC 8 assaulting the top of the leaderboard as well.
I mean, Cameron, those are the teams on the chase, but for me, the fact that we've got Tactical 8, Fiumba, and Dodge are not like outliers for middle position. They're literally contesting for first, second, and third right now. I'm very impressed.
Okay, the gap.
Give them time.
You guys are overdoing. You guys are overdoing it. Like they could definitely make up the points in order to start contesting, but at the moment it's a Yahoo EU United race. We need to see more good games from them and some more bad games by EU United and Yahoo before we can include them in the conversation. But I think your main point is that they are keeping it within like striking distance. When we're seeing a lot of other teams, BBB, Wildcard, even 22, if you want to have that conversation, that are nowhere to be found.
I'm just saying, everybody clip that. Cam just specifically said he doesn't think that Sonics can make up 15 points.
No, he didn't say Sonics. He said
he said it was a 2-horse race.
No, that's fair.
24, 20, 124, 120. They're in a league of their own right now.
109.
Well, we got 2 more games to find out. We got a bit of a pause while the players get back in their chairs. I do think that Tactical 8 has shown, I mean, Matt, they made a literal half of their roster got dropped and replaced coming into this event. Yeah. That is a pretty big change, and the synergy seems to be there, though, which I've been impressed by.
Specifically, I would be surprised by a lot of the star performances that we've seen coming out of here. Like, TAC 8, I will say I often thought of as a team that would hunker down, get a section inside the circle, and then try to take on anybody that came in close range to them. This TAC 8 is getting a much larger territory control. They're perfectly fine with their range all considered inside of it, but even in the close range fights and assaulting, I really like this new invigorated Tactical 8. It feels far more, pardon me, tactical.
Cameron, as I look at this side by side, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Cam.
No, I was going to talk about the side by side. You're talking about the kill difference and the damage difference. Yoho are by far and away the most aggressive team that we have. They're always going for kills. Tactical 8, the fact that they are as close as they are in total points, despite having that big drop off in kills, is the fact that they are playing just a little bit more towards placements than Yoho are, and they're doing it very, very easily. For a team that this is their first time in the grand finals, they seem to know exactly what they need to do in order to have a fighting chance to make it into the late game. You rarely ever see them running away from the blue in a scramble moment. In the mid game, they always have their positioning prepared for multiple reactions and multiple directions for the game to continue through.
Which you essentially answered the question, which was, is that a tale of two styles of play, right? These two teams in the top four with very different kill counts. But Matt, it does seem like, in fact, some of our more aggressive edge teams, Yoho's the only one that's been able to get out of regionals with that aggression. Well, I had a question for you, but not anymore, because the match is starting. We're headed to Miramar, so let's just do it. Let's go to the desert, and let's get into the action with Porosaurus and Clover.
I want to see how long he can. I want to see how long he can drag this out. I like it.
Yeah, I don't think he's called us
He's still
Chlorosaurus
going.
once today.
He's still
that was
going.
me. I took over. He tagged me in.
Still going. Okay. Well, yeah, we are. After hearing Cameron just completely disregard TAC 8. And everybody,
The audacity.
the insurmountable 20-point lead with 17 games to go. United and Yoho in the driver's seat.
Who said insurmountable?
I'm just
you got
saying.
on to me earlier because I used
a
underdog in a way you didn't
race.
like.
Stop
I'm going to get on you for 2-horse race.
It is not a 2-horse race. Look, but all that being said, United is still obviously like they're getting their money. They're getting paid, and they're finding points wherever they can. And the problem for TAC 8, like they're doing a really good job. They've only had 3 games this whole tournament where they finished lower than 6th. Like that is some really good attention to trying to get to late game with guys up. Like they found their formula, like I said, and it is working a treat. Now the question is it going to be able to keep up with these teams like E United, like Sonics, that are capable of producing like a 25-point banger at any given time? You know, like that's the question. But that's the kind of stuff that we don't even get to find out until next week.
Well, yeah, and because, I mean, we saw that head-to-head graphic just before we got into game, and a big thing, obviously, that stood out was the amount of damage and kills that Yoho have gotten. And a thing to keep in mind is that Yoho have done a lot of that while going out, you know, in the mid-game oftentimes. So they'll go out early, but still found a double-digit games. And TAC 8, as you said, they get that late game. So much of that differential is from the first 2 days in terms of those placement points. Today, obviously, that's switched around. We're seeing those double-digit kill games. We're seeing them really put down the points where it's needed now. So they're not only relying on the placement points, which is something that some teams did in the beginning and now are starting to struggle, because that's not going to be enough once we start breaking 100. And with 4 teams 100 and higher, and 2 on the cusp of it, with Dodge and Fiumba both at 97, you've got to really look for every opportunity, every match going forward, because we are almost at the halfway point.
Look, I mean, it may not hold up. It may not. I don't care about that right now, though. What I care about is the fact that TAC 8, an open qualifier squad, came in and they're sitting 9 points below Sonics right now, and that is extraordinary. That is something that should be talked about. That is something that should be lauded and celebrated. And you know, congratulations to them. And I hope that they can kind of keep this stuff going on. And there you go. I've always wondered about that logo.
I have too. I've always wanted to retackle and redraw this logo for them, but at the same time, it's gorgeous. It's my second favorite logo.
I mean, it's like trying to redraw the Mona Lisa. Like,
it really is. Its flaws are what make it flawless.
Shimbo's mother drew the high res. See, I need to hit her up, man. I need some new
You need some
New
captain
emotes.
graphics?
Yeah,
I
need
bet
some
you
new
could do a
emotes.
good job of drawing captain.
TAC 8 was invited. Oh, never mind. I forgot. TAC 8 was invited. They're not an open qualifier squad. Look, guys, it's been a lot of games. All right, cut me some slack.
Yeah, and all right. Oh, well, talking of Yahoo, we've been seeing these stats. Colton found and very quickly took care of Poonage. And that was a little bit of range. They're just spread out from Hacienda. So pretty much, I guess right now, we're kind of been waiting. We did get the circle pop. It is leaning towards Impala. We've got a lot of the Impala fields, Bendita. And so for most of the teams, that's going to be a shorter rotation, nice, easy wrap, especially teams inside the circles like TMG, like Yahoo, United have already left Minas and moved towards Bendita. So that is a position that's available to backfill should Tokyo Manji Gang want to head down in that direction. And then obviously the Sonics, something to note is that they have been fighting United very early on Miramar lately. We saw it during games. We've seen it during scrims. They really like to take that position because I think they're realizing a lot of their rotations that they want are in similar routes to United, but they are going to be able to find, as you like to call them, the impossible to push, the unpushable compounds.
Unpushables, those long houses, man. We've seen those long houses get a lot of play this weekend as well, and to varying degrees of success for a lot of these teams. But yeah, those things are brutal, and they can turn on. They can get you in a lot of trouble real quick. Ooh, Tig. Okay, from range, we'll find a little bit of damage onto E United, as you said. Once again, E United, Sonics just kind of spotting them out. E United finding themselves in a little bit of a pinch here between Sonics and Yahoo. Fortunately, it's from range, and they should be able to get everybody out and safe once again, as they'll take the compound just off to the southeast of Bendita. Yeah, okay, they're doing a 2-2 split, which I like at this early on.
Yeah, and I feel like the return of the 2-2 split, for a while, especially when we were in the most chicken format, splits were kind of all or not in some situations. I feel like we're seeing teams take a little bit more space for them on those first few confidently, and then also making the smart play of when to break away from it. Obviously, we've also had a couple teams that have lost players early. The scouting not quite as strong as it could be in some of those situations, especially in Miramar where things are out in the open. That said, again, with this circle, I feel pretty confident that we shouldn't have too much early fighting because there's just plenty of room right now for everybody to get comfortably into position that they would want to play given where this circle could potentially end game.
Okay. There's a few shots coming in from SCG. Short circuit. Not having a great tournament so far, but plenty of time to still turn things around and start making the climb. But they would love to start here. 2 games left on Miramar. As Andy. Oh my God. Oh, Icy.
It's so good to have Icy Flex
glad
back.
to have Icy back. Yeah.
Yeah, Icy was just unfortunately had to step away and was not able to compete with his teammates yesterday. And so I think if I remember correctly, they only put down 11 points yesterday, and that was because they had to perform as a 3-man. Not their best day. That said, they've more than made up for it thus far today, and with 2 games left, I'm feeling like they have a good strong chance to try to jump back up into the mid board. You know, we've kind of got a little bit of a shelf after Dodge in the top 6, Young Kings, Bing Bang Boom, Synergy, a little bit of a close, but anybody below them are just 1 game up to joining that ranks. So if you're looking at people to follow right now, as we're at the midway point of the tournament, that is going to be like teams like Young Kings, Synergy, Wildcard, Troglodytes have had a couple of those strong games where they've popped off. It's just the consistency so far through the tournament that they've been lacking a little.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those slow circles to start things off, and we'd like to see a little bit more consistency out of Spicy Fish, but man, it's so hard whenever you have to go through something like that where there's nothing you could do. Icy had prior commitments. He wasn't even planning on playing, and he was fortunately able to help out these boys in the qualifiers and the group stages, and they end up making it. And once you make it, you're like, oh well, crap. I actually have work that I can't get out of. I hope that's okay. Well, They went through yesterday, did as much as they could, but now they have to reset and they have to get back to playing. And again, this is a team that we've touched on already. They haven't really played with each other that much to start off with, and then to have to go through that as well. You know, it's everything's been working against them here so far, and they still managed to pull out a few points for themselves and keep themselves in the conversation. You know, a couple good games, any direction, they're right back in it.
Yeah. And, you know, I got a team of fraggers, right? And also it's good to see Moody back, right? We always talk about the players that go in and out of retirement, maybe leave for another game for a while. Moody was, for me, one of the people I absolutely loved watching back in, I always say the before the plague times, right? But back in the golden days of PUBG Esports, Moody was just such a phenomenal player. And so to see him really finding his stride so quickly, as you said, with a team that hasn't had a lot of time to play together has been exciting.
Well, those spicy fish are making their way just south of Impala. Now, they got Young Kings kind of inside Impala right now. Synergy just off to their west in a 2-2 split. And for the most part, everybody's already made it inside the circle now. And they're outside of vehicles. T8 just kind of creeping into that western side of Los Leones. They're the only ones really still moving around as we wait and see what kind of brutality this C2 shift can drop on us. There's a number of ways this could go wrong. I'm just interested to see what the PUBG gods decide to do to us this time.
All right, come on. Hard shift.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, all right. Well, but here's the big factor now, Poro, is that this is a potential for an Impala ending, or those big open fields just to the south of Sparking, to the west of Impala. We've oftentimes seen very out in the open, a handful of dips, but we're going to a lot of car forts potential for interviews and for endings. Now, also all that space where United is, all of that's big open field. So if you're a team that's outside of the circle now, the options are potentially try to hug edge as long as you can, or full send it into Impala, or try to drive through everything and hope that there's an open shack.
And we can already see a few teams already on the move here. Is Wildcard making their way across La Bendita Crater. The problem that they have is their westernmost flank, Fiumba, is making their way through Waikikamuka. Going to have to play this pretty quiet. I think he's just looking for information more than anything, just to let the rest of the boys know exactly where Fiumba is going to go. Now, the other issue that Wildcard has is that Sonics have a 2-2 split on the north and south side of La Bendita. So at some point, they're going to probably look at getting back together. But meanwhile, this is the fight that's going on the ramp. A ramp we see get a lot of play in circles like this. It is a strong spot. Synergy sent too early. Now Troglodytes has followed that up with a full 4-man. And right now, Silzen and Benya are doing work defending their territory.
Taking quick work of knocking out Poso. Was actually stolen from E United, as you can see. Synergy pulling back down, using car for coverage, and just spraying and praying, hoping to get any type of knock on the other player, Necro, inside to smoke. As 2-2 split from Troglodytes, as Rusty Zera not in a position to lend a hand to their teammates. And that's going to be an unfortunate play now for Trog. However, Synergy really come out of this mostly unscathed, and they only did that as a 2-man.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, they got a little bit of support from Pippa towards the end. I'm kind of curious as to why Trog decided to leave Rusty Zera back at the compound that they were at in the southwest instead of full 4-man sending it. I mean, that's not really a 2-2 split or a 1-3 split that you see a lot. Unfortunately, I guess, fortunately for Trog, they have one left to try to get a few more placement points as a solo, but maybe could have gone a little bit different. Meanwhile, Sonics now in their own 2-2 split. Looks like Win and Shrimsy are going to have to hold off 22. Haven going to go down. Oh, Haven immediately bopped by Shrimsy.
Vinny and Dean Zera were just not in a position to aid. Again, it's these 2-2 splits that are now starting to be a little problematic for some teams. They're sending it early into a compound that's not really equipped to handle.
Oop.
As you can see, the other part of the split from Sonics trying to challenge exactly that. Wild Cards hold on the ridgeline for Bandita. Mime gets spotted. He was low in health. Not enough time to do much about it. Nikus finds a knock. Didn't see any retaliation. Just some extra bullets in to make sure that bleed out happens. Try to secure that kill, but hasn't spotted out Tiggleton. Oh, we might have seen him just there behind the tree, but doesn't matter. He's going to make sure that Mime is his.
And Tiggleton in no man's land now, and he knows he's got a full squad of Wildcard just off to his north that are looking for him. He's going to have to play it cool and calm for right now and see if he can maybe at some point rejoin the rest of his squad as we wait and see where the next circle is going to take us. How kind are we going to be? Hard north shift.
Okay.
And that is good news for Yahoo, as United already now on the move. Good thing that they had that 3-1 with Kickstart. They have somewhere to go. Is Tiggleton finally going to open up? He's going to find Adam. Nice.
This is really good news for so many different teams. As you can see, it gives them a lot of coverage for extra compounds, as well as those rocky ridgelines up south of Junkyard. But Tiggleton, with the circle pulling so hard away from Wildcard, could potentially give him some extra time should they break away from this. But right now, it looks like all 4 members know exactly where he is, and they're not going to let him continue to sit on their backside. So Greg Shot driving in wide. He was the last player to not yet be in the fight for this. Meanwhile, in the picture-in-picture, we can see TAC-8 coming up on Troglodytes, who have not been able to catch a break. Rusty Zera taken out. As you remember, he did hang behind the rest of the team. So kill for TAC-8, and they found themselves a nice free compound on the edge of zone.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Rusty's plan was there. He's a solo trying to backfill United on that, I mean, very, very good-looking compound, and he just gets crashed by a full 4-man. There you go. Spicy Fish going to take care of Young Kings as well, as we keep eyes on Tiggleton trying to survive. Nikos will spot him out, though. Put an end to Tiggleton's reign of terror.
That's Sparking just from range took that last shot onto Simply Matt with a little help from E United. That's it for Spicy Fish. You can see the kill feed is exploding right now, and that's from so many teams who are taking rotations, trying to get into zone. Sonic's just barely finding themselves a compound. We can see as well, it is Tokyo Manji Gang actually just tried to push a little bit further outside of Junkyard, ran into 22, and that unfortunately meant that Zealot and Colton had to stay behind just a little longer. Tried to see if they could spot out Vinny. I think they've decided that their attention now is making sure they've got that prime position on the other side of the road, because this circle has a strong potential to continue to shift south.
Yeah, Tokyo Manji Gang have a hell of a spot right now, as they'll leave Colton on the north side of the road. Now, they do have Bing Bang Boom kind of coming in from that northeast side. Bing Bang Boom, though, looks like they're comfortable stopping down on the edge and just scouting out. Wildcard, meanwhile, looking to see where they, unfortunately, it looks like they managed to split Shrimsy and H-Win while they were kind of spread on that northern side here. Short Circuit Gaming, meanwhile, going to take the fight to SCG. Oh, Shrimsy striking like a snake.
There you go. Yeah, you can see that split, right, as Wildcard's driving in the dip on the opposite side of that. It's H-Win who's waiting perfectly for him. H-Win taking shots into Wildcard. Meanwhile, you can see Vox running up on Synergy. They've managed to push what's left of Synergy out of that position, giving them spot in zone. And H1 with nades out, waiting for the push. The unpushable buildings. Nice. Bounce on the window. Just a few more bullets. Catches him off. Nikos, that's one down. Makes sure to get the flush. He knows that somebody else is coming. Down to 13 HP. And just as he closes the door, spotted out by Waikikamukow.
Oh, 1 second too late. But Sonics, I mean, I feel like Wildcard was in the better position there, and Sonics even split as 4 solos, essentially. They still do the damage. They still get the kills. On to Wildcard. Shrimsy going to stay alive a little bit longer here, but that circle's starting to pinch just a little bit more now that the new circle has popped, and we've gone hard north yet again. Vinny, the solo from 22, trying to see if he can maybe do some damage to Fiumba here.
There we go, Vinny. Popping one last bandage, throwing, I think, a Molotov. Now, he might have actually put it back in his back pocket, waiting for the perfect opportunities. You can see Fiumba still have vehicles as well. So the circle closing in. Vinny does have the option, if he wants, to wait this out just a little bit longer and see if Fiumba are going to break away. They actually are. And also, I'm talking about breaking away. TAC-8 now trying to go wide, looking for a safe position in the zone, but there is no safe position. Dodge, with eyes on them, do find one knock. Palix gets knocked out of the car and immediately driven over by his teammate on accident.
Yeah, brutal shift from far away, and they're going to have to blind send it, fully send it into Fiumba right now. Tater going to get spotted out by Rybo, and now it's just down to Hooligan and Zenny. Hooligan will at least find a little bit of a secure spot inside this circle. It's very tenuous. As you can see, Tokyo Manji Gang still kind of stretching out from their compound to see if they can maybe take shots at any of these Fiumba boys, but T8 down to 2 here as we check in with Yahoo and E United again. It's constantly with these guys.
You can see every peak right now is just completely met As SCG actually just picking the best opportunity to wrap around this. I think it made EU take a quick pause for a moment before continuing that push onto the Yahoo compound. And you can see they found themselves a nice, safe dip. A little bit of coverage and eyes in multiple directions from teams. But, I mean, look, every time a member of Yahoo tries to get an angle, they're just punished.
Yeah, United, I mean, they've got plenty of time to play this slow, as they've just got hard cover to work with. They know that Yahoo is all around. They get the res on a flood, back up to 4 strong. They do have to be careful about playing around the outside, because you do have Tokyo Manji Gang and now SCG that all have vision from the north onto the outside of this compound. As we check the PIP, Zenny, we'll see if we can maybe get out of there, but DraftKings pretty much got him keyed in. Well, everything going slow for the right now. Keep it in mind, just kind of looking around the map as we check. It looks like Dodge now finally on the move. They're getting shot at by Tokyo Manji Gang. Shrimzy's still alive for Sonic, so Sonic's fans rejoice. You're still in this thing. Is Hooligan going to find Hikerman with a nicely placed grenade? We're worried about that T8 solo, what they could do. New circle has popped. It's going to go south, so Fiumba, Bing Bang Boom, they're going to have to get on the move. T8 will lose Zenny to the blue. Hooligan going to get square off with Dodge while we wait and see for this United and Yahoo fight. It's just not popping back off, man. They are trying. Okay, Hooligan does go down to Finna finally. As it's like, I feel bad for our ops team, man. It's two of the big names in the lobby, United, Yahoo. They're ready for a big team fight, and it's never happening.
Yeah, you know, I guess that's the problem too, is so many teams just keep fighting at once, and that's part of the nature of these circles. Everybody's really trying to hold on to whatever cover that they can have. The circle and the way that shifted, there's a lot of flat open terrain just outside of United's compound that takes about 40% of the south. And then you've got all these dips and ridges up to the north where you see SCG, Benya, and the rest of the people playing. But that's where the trouble comes now. Is you've got Bing Bang Boom still 4 up, Fiumba still 4 up, 22 at the solo, Dodge was just a handful, and nowhere to go in the circle.
Yeah, SCG, that rotation was big Monka-esque, but they do manage to get everybody in, and now Dodge going to have to try to do the same thing as they creep in just a little bit west here, but the long-range shots going to put them on pause temporarily here as Sonics do finally lose Shrimzy. It's going to be to Yahoo, as Yahoo now starting to creep in. Finally, this fight might finally break out as they are taking their time with it.
I love watching people just in this hide and seek, taking time, as you say. But there, Kickstart has the angle, gets Balefrost down to about 30 HP. Snakers was waiting to see if he could maybe catch him in that final room. In fact, I think they might be in the room, but he's actually just outside of the building, safety behind the wall. So United slightly misread that position. But now the smoke's coming in. You could see making that move. Meanwhile, in our picture-in-picture, Bing Bang Boom taking that fight to Vinny. Still haven't gotten him yet. He is pressured in the zone. It's phase 5, so Blue might do the rest of the job for him.
A lot of fights going on right now as we keep an eye on these two in the PIP. Keep in mind Fiumba trying to push in, and they're actually going to dispatch of TMG with help from Dodge. And it looks like TMG actually had Fiumba almost down well, they were down, got him down to 2, and then Dodge just perfectly timing the backfill, take advantage of TMG as we see United still trying to finish off this fight. Yahoo have gotten together. Good grenade from Sparking. Will take the knock on to Flood as it looks like Vinny is finally taken care of. So United down to 3. Yahoo have the western wall to work with, but they're getting shot at from way downtown. Benya gonna get the knock on to Sparking, and there you go. SCG getting the angle.
I mean, that dip that SCG took earlier is really paying its dividends, and still Bing Bang Boom. So much utility in the bank as they've continued to wrap around and clear the north side, this time taking the fight to Dodge, and the solo Emmy, the last player still standing for Fiumba. Flashbangs coming from multiple directions. Emmy spotted out. Credit's going to go to Dodge, but now Finna getting caught off the roof from Roth. Gats getting caught off by Oldless. Things aren't looking so good for Dodge, who Ethan pinned inside the compound. Bing Bang Boom, every angle with eyes on it.
There you go. Bing Bang Boom need to, if they can flush this kill out, flush Gats out. I know that there's a solo still left in that compound, but they've got to worry about getting into the zone right now as the blue is starting to slowly encroach. A lot of solos. We got Waikika, Ethan, Benya, all solos that are starting to work their way into this circle. Meanwhile, SCG, they have just got dead center, 4 up. They are vibing just too easy on the east side as well. They have a nice little spot to play for themselves. United starting to make their way in from the south side, and it looks like they have found a track to avoid SCG's line of sight here. So everybody should be able to make it into this next circle fairly cleanly, surprisingly.
Again, the amount of solos that we just have been getting in this edge of the fight. Now Ethan and Waikika, Benya, all tied up together. Just Too Easy have had their head down for quite a while, but now as United having to cross that open terrain to leave their compound, wrapping right back into them. As eyes are on that, speaking of solos, Ethan spotted out by Waikika. 4 kills now for Wildcard Gaming, but the big issue now, Benya still on the edge of zone and could potentially spot out Waikika, bouncing back around Poor. There's so many fights going on.
Boy, there sure are. Solos are taking on solos. Bing Bang Boom will find one onto SCG as they were just the unfortunately lying in that valley. Bing Bang Boom just had beautiful vision over all of them, and now United starting to creep up. They're going to find a couple of from Just Too Easy. Get the knock at least. How many get the flush onto Nehi Bowl? No, onto Kalnix just yet. Just Too Easy. Looks like they maybe got taken by surprise a little bit by United here.
Ooh,
just how quickly they came over the top. But this is a weird spot to play for all these teams.
I'm actually, I think United may potentially be the only one that's 4 up strong. Bing Bang Boom as well. Otherwise, we've got just a lot of broken squads left in the mix. There you go. You can see 7 kills for United with 4 still standing strong. They managed to take out 2 members of Just Too Easy and continue to hold down to the south. And you can see that open terrain being used to their advantage right now as they're taking shots into SCG, pushing them further and further into Bing Bang Boom. Keenan waiting for Neferhor, finds one knock, tries to follow that up with throwables. And trade comes out Roth, taken down here as well. Sharp shot spotted out. Richie B's you called with the Groza, taking down 2.
Richie, you get him 3. Can he get all 4? Oh, Oldless. The quick flicks. Can he get the reses off? Oh my gosh, if they can get everybody back up. I loved the play from SCG there. They were down to 3. They had that valley, but they knew if they just sat there, after they took that first knock and flush from BBB, they knew if they stayed in that valley, they were just going to be easy pickings for Bing Bang Boom. So they had to be aggressive. They had to push off to the north, and Richie B almost pulls off a miracle there as he brings it down to a 1v1. But now Bing Bang Boom have high ground here. They're going to have all 4 up. They are going to be pretty beaten and busted as far as armor and helmets go, but you gotta like their chances here with this position.
Yeah, and it looked like for a second, Ardito was also taking shots towards Bing Bang Boom, but didn't have the line of sight, so the ridge was just giving enough protection. They're able to get full reses on all 4 members. Heals popped off right now, so with that time for the recovery now, and the position that they still have in the zone, this could be a huge advantage for United. You can see United are hiding behind this ridgeline, but this is not in the zone. Everything ahead of them, fully out in the open, vulnerable not only to Bing Bang Boom, but to Benya, who has been spotted by Flood, but hasn't yet found the opportunity to find the knock, as well as the last 2 members of Just Too Easy.
United trying to see what they can get done with this ridge line that they have for as long as they have it. Looks like they took their eyes off of Benya just long enough. There you go. Flood's going to spot him out. Not really much for Benya to do there in that situation. Harita going to get spotted out by Rello as well. So United, they're getting work done with that ridge line while they have it. But this is looking like Bing Bang Boom's game to lose almost with this high ground. I don't want to. Well, no, I don't cast a curse anything. It never happens.
No, I've been a part. I've sat second seat to so many caster curses. We are not doing that right now. But United opting for 2-2 split, sending 2 center, trying to find a secure location as they made sure just to see if that last member of Just Too Easy was going to come for that res for Aita. Didn't find it, but at angle, visible and vulnerable to Bing Bang Boom. Rello falls down, flushed out by Sharp Shot. And now that leaves 3 left up as Kickstart is just going to try and drive into zone safely. Just manages to narrowly find himself a spot on the edge.
Roth, please be careful. He's playing that anchor position. He's way down low. He's got United just on his other side. He's got to be real careful here. It looks like he's going to drop the smokes. Maybe United figuring out where he's at. He's got Kickstart pinned up against the wall here. The other 2 playing a little bit closer. Good work from Keenan. Kind of keep kickstart from over peaking, and New Circle is going to pop. Doesn't really matter a whole lot, though, as at Donuts. And BBB have already kind of moved off of that high ground to begin with. Their Sharp Shot will find kickstart off at distance, and now Sharp Shot finds another angle as well. And E United, yep, they're slowly going down. The Molotov from Roth will get Flood. Snaker's the last one up, and here comes the push from Bing Bang Boom, and they get it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Bing Bang Boom with a chicken dinner.
There we go. And at the start of this game, one of the teams we pointed out, Bing Bang Boom, as having the potential to play big catch-up from the mid-game with one good game. That's going to put them, I believe, at 99 points, tied with Fiumba. So a big leap on the leaderboard for them. And that's going to close them in to fight for the top of the leaderboard, Poro.
And that's the kind of team that Bing Bang Boom is, right? I mean, they are very consistent. They get points in various ways, whether it be through placement and through big kill games, but then they're always a threat to have one of these double-digit kill wins that puts them right back in the mix and gets them right back in the conversation. So love to see Bing Bang Boom being able to pull this one out here at the end. Again, though, E United, everybody's chasing them, and they are still so damn consistent. Once again, up in the late game, they get a little bit of help dealing with Yahoo, but they don't lose anybody either.
Yeah, I mean, being in that position to find the big kills, even when they can't find the wins, as you say, it's really helping them in the leaderboard. And not as quite as strong as we saw them on the first day, but I think we're getting there.
Well, we are going to take a quick break, but before we do, I want to let you know that, once again, PCS 7 registration is now open. Open qualifiers are going to start August 10th, so make sure to sign your team up at na.pubgesports.com for your chance of PGC points and a cut of that $250,000 prize pool. Again, that's na.pubgesports.com. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, the analyst desk will break that last game down and get us set for the final game of the day. Don't go anywhere.
Clear on the roof. Heading back down.
Roger. Hurry up. We need to move.
Just make sure I don't take a bullet in the back.
Looking good. Keep it steady.
I hear footsteps. I got a bad feeling.
Enemy spotted. Move! Move!
You're going up next time.
There won't be a next time.
With the fourth game done and one left to play this week, it's time for the rubber to hit the road. My name's Toffees. I'm joined by Matchroom and the Cammy D as we prepare for our last match of the weekend. It has been back and forth between our tops on the leaderboard as United and Yahoo continue to fight for it. But teams like Bing Bang Boom, getting this dinner, have no intentions of letting off the gas. Cameron, you implied two-horse race. Still stand by?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, it's still them at the top. Listen, okay, let me be more specific.
I respect you by standing by your ground, dude.
It is not, this isn't like G-Loot, right? They're not so far ahead, and there aren't like so few games that they can't get caught up to. All I mean to say is that it's a bit, to me, it feels a bit of a stretch when those two are so neck and neck, and there's even just a small bit of a gap there between them and third place to group them all in together. You gotta draw the line somewhere. I drew it below second. That's all.
I got you. It's one of my greatest joys when I get Cameron to a place where he has to go before he explains himself.
That's the best part.
It makes me happy, just like highlights do.
Toffees was talking about it, Cam. There was a lot of leapfrogging on this, just on the leaderboard, but also in the game. With the way that this was lining out at the end, we saw United have to move in here by trying to leapfrog the position from Yahoo.
Yeah.
But this hold by Bing Bang Boom was, I thought that it was pretty much done. But do know that Just Too Easy, it's at range and is going to make it to where United can't get the right angles onto this, and Just Too Easy still wants to play passive. So even with 3 members down and what could have been a massive loss for them there, they managed to right it back up and then just get control over that high ground.
Yeah, and once they were in this position, especially with everyone back up and revived, I mean, fair play to Richie B. He made it really close, but BBB, 4 into the late game with the high ground, it was lights out for everyone else, essentially. They did it methodical, they didn't overpush things, United put up a bit of a fight, but ultimately they had the terrain advantage, and they earned that advantage by fighting through a number of different teams. United also had to fight to get to this position. You alluded to their interaction with Yahoo, and I thought they played that one out very, very well. In fact, this whole game, once it shifted away from the fields, how players sort of had to contend with that was very interesting. But BBB, for a team that for the longest time seems to have struggled to really kind of adapt their aggressive mid-game playstyle into getting a lot of points, when they are in the end game with 4 players up, they are still one of the most lethal teams to go up against.
23 points for Bing Bang Boom on the back of that one. And remember, at the end of the last game, Matt, we saw Yahoo pull ahead and take first, but E United will not allow it for more than one match. I'm loving this back and forth cross. Like, this is borderline photo finish build here.
I mean, I am loving it as well, specifically because the fact that I know that so many people have wanted Yahoo to be contesting for that #1 spot for so long. And we've been talking about United, the strengths of that team. Yahoo is a very, very solid team that we've had a lot of expectations in every single event that they've made their appearance. And it's great to see them, yes, in position above Sonics right now, contesting against E United, which is just back and forth off of positioning right now.
It's been absolutely beautiful to see. I think that little chicken logo is starting to grow into a big, bad, muscular chicken as these guys have really come home to roost. But what's also I'm loving, Cameron, is sort of what you alluded to in your chat about with BBB and the others pursuing the top 2. That mid pack is just getting beefier and big. Like those 5 teams in there are just looking good.
Yeah, there's a lot of stagnation around that bubble. I am kind of worried for Fiyumba, who are in that mix, because they started off basically leading that entire pack. They were not far behind E United and Sonics, and I don't remember exactly where Yahoo was in that or that collective there, but they were not far behind the top spot right now. They've been starting to slip. I wonder if these teams getting more used to this lobby, because every single lobby is new and unique, teams getting more used to it. Fiyumba's more reactive, sort of like Tai Chi flowy play style. They have been finding the same opportunities to pick up points that would otherwise they'd have to like really force into it.
Matt, I look like you had something real quick.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was just going to point out the fact that E United just broke 20k damage with Yahoo just behind them, 19,042.
Nice. Nice. Well, yeah, let's get you two in here. It's time for our last match of the day, and who better to be the maestros of mayhem than Cloversaurus?
See,
yes, said it.
You had to remind him, didn't you?
You know what?
You like it?
You have
You
a
love
good point. He might have
dinosaurs.
completely forgotten it, and I said nothing.
I can't forget it because you guys. I want everyone out there to know Porosaurus is such a dinosaur fan
I
that
am a
we were in
dinosaurs
another country when Jurassic Park came out, and he dragged me to the theater to watch it with him. That's how
Jurassic
much this
Park.
man loves dinosaurs. No,
I
Jurassic
think he
been in
means
the
Jurassic
industry
World
for that
Fallen
long.
Kingdom. And I'm such a nerd that I knew exactly which movie you were talking about.
No idea what you're talking about.
Liar.
Honestly. It's,
What's your favorite dinosaur? Do you have one?
Brontosaurus.
All right.
Respectable. I
I
like
like,
Is it-
I like
is
the
it-
tall,
is Brontosaurus
long
still a
necky
thing?
man.
Yeah, I like the Utah Raptor, man.
Diplodocus.
Ooh, Diplodocus is pretty good. Yeah.
There you go. All right.
I'm into underwater marine reptiles personally, but if you're into dinosaurs, that's
Oh.
cool.
Mosasaur?
How
I'm into more
edgy
like
is he?
Mosasaur,
post-rock,
my man.
post-industrial music myself, but you know, to each their own.
You know what? This is why we just all need to go on a vacation to Dino Land together.
Absolutely not surprised that Cam had that answer as well. Tries to pretend like he's not into cool things like dinosaurs. Well, speaking of dinosaurs, it's me, Porosaurus, and we are here to bring you the last game of the day, which is going to be a very boring Circle Clover, I think.
You know, the only thing I think that's helping it not be boring is that we do have a lot of the rocky terrain up to the north, outside of crater fields and water treatment. That's going to at least give us some extra verticality to this otherwise very, very boring circle. But you're right. When we see Graveyard, Hacienda, this close to dead center, the cliffs just outside of power, they're very predictable. They're one of the oldest Tale of Time circles that we've had since the inclusion of Miramar into PUBG Esports. And that also makes the way that the teams move oftentimes very predictable. And that's why we say it's boring. It's boring because we're going to have a whole lot of players alive in the
Don't
mid.
show this. Don't show this. Why are you showing this? He's
'Cause
not
it's
doing that
boring.
on purpose.
Oh.
He's
Okay, we say it's boring.
disconnected.
It just is this. There's so much playability. There's so much room to rotate, and there's so many places for the teams to maneuver without getting into fights. And that's why we say it's boring. It's boring because now we have to find things to talk about while they just hang out and loot and scoot along rails and kind of drive a little haphazardly.
Oh, wow. That's a stat. The last game for Bing Bang Boom was their first time having all four alive in Circle 7 or later.
Feels bad.
That's pretty unfortunate. Now, that being said, I feel like there's been quite a few of our games that have ended kind of earlier. So, like ending in C8, C7, C8. We haven't gone all the way to C9 in most of these games. So that stat may be a little bit misleading. Just because of how the games have played out, but
I mean, we had some C9 city finishes, but you can't include those because those are the exception circles. Those are the weird circles that everyone struggles with.
Right. Yeah, and it it's tough. What are you gonna do? But Bing Bang Boom. They've been having a little bit of a hard time keeping everybody up late, but it's in the end it doesn't really matter. They just get that win, they get that big point bump, and they're right back in the mix, right? And that's kind of what we were expecting for a lot of these teams, or hoping for a lot of these teams. As especially now on a circle like this where it's very vanilla, right? And Bing Bang Boom actually has pretty free path to wrap around this western side up to the north if they so choose. But I got to tell you, my eyes. I'm going to get beat over the head by Kickstart for saying this, but my eyes are on Sonics. I'm interested in seeing where they decide to go through Picado, knowing that they've had struggles dealing with Wildcard and E United on circles that kind of go towards the north, where they want to rotate north. Wildcard and E United have been kind of looking for it, and you can actually, you can see it on the map right now. Wildcard was kind of hanging out on those cliff sides waiting for Sonics, but instead it looks like they've decided to wrap around on that western side, come into Power Grid from the south, and yeah, there you go. So basically it looks like they're catching Wildcard a little bit by surprise here.
Yeah, Greg Shot's a little bit late to leave, and definitely heard the cars driving by. Hopefully Tiggleton, there he goes, able to rewrite that back on all four wheels. And Greg Shot's actually not going to drive directly towards his teammates. He wants to try and stay a little bit longer. No, I think he is still staying parked on the small building. I think realizing that mini power is probably the safest bet. They want to be caught out in the open, but as I say that, was caught actually by Tiggleton, who got a couple of hits of damage into, and now that means Shrimsy Mime coming back in because they realize someone's in here. They don't know it's only Greg Shot, but with one person present, they can know that it's definitely Wildcard.
Yeah, Tiggleton had his ears on. He had his volume turned up to 12, and I think he heard Greg Shot get in that vehicle, and then Greg Shot kind of changing his mind, getting out of that's a rock, getting out of it and seeing if he is like, oh, well, I should go. Well, then let's maybe hang out here and see if we can maybe take some shots at Sonics and passing, or see exactly where they're going. But that was just enough time, really, for Tig to turn it around. And now, okay, Sonics looks like they're going to get back on their thing. Dodge, meanwhile, they've got a little bit of a center circle position just north of San Martin. 2-2 split once again. A lot of 2-2 splits. It's like a triumphant return of the 2-2 split here, as it feels like. I feel like we're seeing way more teams do it than we have recently.
Yeah, 2019, 2020 feeling of 2-2 splits right now with a lot of the teams. Maybe the chicken dinner format really pushed that out of a lot of people. But the confidence
Vox.
of playing in. Oh, when you talk about confidence, there you go. SCG just confidently pushing up Minas Generalis. Again, it is known by everybody that this is E-United's spot. Maybe potentially thinking that 6.5 minutes in, it was empty. They could backfill this, but that is not the case right now.
Yeah, either thinking they could backfill, or maybe doing some research and predicting the 2-2 split, thinking that they could take the 4v2 here. But Flood going to put Richie B on his backside. Extreme now down to about half HP. Fortunately for him, Nefahor going to be there to provide some supports, as Flood will take the fadeaway grenade there as he pulls away. Kickstart now going to come and join the rest of his team, and it looks like Relo right on his back here. So what was maybe a surprise fight here from SCG is now turned into a full-on 4v4.
And you can see this ridgeline is hurting United just a little bit. They're very careful on the peak, not sure how much coverage they had, but taking out Extreme's going to make that one even easier. Vox and Neferhor trapped on the other side of the fence, so don't have the full line of sight on the Snakers, but who does is Silzen. Went way ahead of the rest of Synergy, just past Bandita, and from a couple 100 meters away, taking a shot onto United.
Long-range stuff there, and it's more annoying than it is really super, super dangerous, but good shots from Sills, and we'll force the United to pull back down. Meanwhile, just too easy, starting to creep in. Oh, Keenan, okay. You can see they were trying to run out of there, and automatically they turned back after that nice knock from Keenan onto Kalnix. Arita inside the building. Oldest will lead off with the flashbang, but go and rejoin his teammate as they are considering how they want to approach this. Nicely done from Oldless, as now just too easy down to 2, and Nehibol in the vehicle already.
Yeah, I think right now the call for Just Too Easy is to just go ahead and give this compound up, but right now the problem is the escape route is not as safe as it looks. As you can see, Buggy already trapped out in the smoke as the last player of Just Too Easy continues to bleed back out. Oldest holding the corner, just waiting for somebody to leave the building, and they're far away. Shots out from Dodge. Those are those tracers coming in from the edge of screen.
Like this from Bing Bang Boom, getting everybody back together. I think they've managed to force Just Too Easy. They know exactly where these guys are. They've got them held back into the building. Kalnix will, gets stolen by Ethan. That's unfortunate. Bing Bang Boom would have loved to have had that point, but Ethan got his long eyes on, as now it's down to Nehibol to hold the bottom floor here. A lot of room to work around here, so that's going to be a hard one to try to hit with the utility. You can see Roth holding that backside anchor position, waiting for him to peek the windows. But Just Too Easy, just playing it safe for right now, waiting for Bing Bang Boom to make the push.
Yeah, I mean, there's not an easy escape room for Just Too Easy on this as well. The best idea is to go down the ridgeline and break the line of sight from Bing Bang Boom, but then that takes you right into the clutches of Fiumba and Dodge, who've been shooting in this direction. So having to take this fight out, you can see again, Fiumba, this time Emmy hitting shots. So two teams third-partying this, and that means Coda Kid just has no choice but to stay inside this room, and as you called it, Poro, wait for that push to come.
Yeah, he can't get anywhere near these windows. Look at that. Emmy gonna hit him again for 29. As it's Fiumba, it's Dodge, it's just about everybody. And the big problem, oh no, Sharp, oh, he's gonna be blind, but there you go, okay. Clean stuff from Bing Bang Boom, and that'll be 3 more points at least. Would have been 4, but unfortunately Dodge gonna steal one away.
Yeah. Go Dodge. You know, again, it's the proactivity, right? Yeah, you're locked in, you've got range, but if you can steal something, if you can do any type of damage, that is always potentially a point for teams that have been in the chase right now. Dodge and Fiumba just outside of the top 3, multiple times even being kind of in that far lead. You've got to look for every scoring chance. Circle is going to shift towards San Martin. So most teams not really needing to center up, not really going to expect teams that go into the city if they don't have to. But I mean, Poro, right now my eyes are on the southeast because there's so many teams coming in right on top of each other. Trogloditas, Spicy Fish, Synergy, United, and SCG still fighting in that corner. And so this is going to get really crowded real fast.
Yeah, real quick. And remember, I mean, while we got the map up, United, they were in a 2-2 split between where they're at now and where Balefrost is. So they had a foothold at one point, but they were forced to come back up to deal with SCG. And now they're in that same spot as all these other teams are crashing. Spicy Flex going to be the Spicy Fish. I did it again, man. Spicy Fish going to be the first one there.
Spicy Flex, it works.
Yeah, Spicy Flex. Trogloditas just off to the west, but they're not really in the line of sight. SCG going to use this time to just bail out, and they might actually take that spot away as Rello is going to find Pack Caps. Immediately goes down. Icy Flex is down as well. Kickstart does get flushed out. So E United down to 3, and Snakers has 1 HP to his name, while E United try to finish off what's left of Spicy Fish.
I mean, United really not able to have an opportunity to breathe as SCG pushed off from this compound. This fight that you pulled attention to, Spicy Fish crashing, but are going to be able to get a kill and a knock to show for it. Simply Matt, kind of trapped on the opposite side of this compound for Moody. Does take some damage from Rello, who might actually be getting in the car for a chase here. Snakers should have a window of opportunity. Couple more shots, doesn't quite connect. Switches to the Mini 14, and on that vertical climb, miraculously, Simply Matt still lives, so he did take 29 hits of damage from that last bullet.
Man, that last round hit him. That's pretty nutty there. So, okay, Flood gonna find Icy Flex with the backup nade. It looked like Moody was going for the res, or maybe Flex going for the res on Moody. Either way, they take the damage here as Moody laying down the smoke line still. See if he can maybe go for the res here on Icy Flex. Spicy Fish doing their best to keep 3 up. Yeah, this is tough stuff, and you can see United just continuing to wrap around here. Another one from Flood. I'm not sure where it's going to land. Looks like it's going to be just short, but Reload should have him. Should have LOS here in a second. Simply Matt doing a good job of trying to provide support for his teammates, though.
Yeah, the smoke's coming in huge as we saw that vulnerable position that he had. And Rello saw him, but just too late by the time he switched. Matt was out of line of sight. Does catch Moody, though. That's Rello still with the M4 out. Tries to see if he can find one other. But again, that support from Matt, who's got the high ground at range.
Now Flood being forced back as well. I think that's coming from Trog. That's coming from way down off to the northwest here. So Trogloditas keeping an eye on things up here from range. As haven't seen Snakers get involved just yet. Relo and Flood just kind of working this line. Snakers has now taken that time to make his way in. Relo will finish off Moody. Let's see where Snakers can find from his angle here, moving through the buildings.
There you go. Quick on the toes right now. United, you've got to feel for them just a bit because they haven't had a lot of opportunity to do much outside of Mina so far this game. As you can see, they're still having to deal with the 2 members up of Spicy Fish. 3 members up, pardon me. But I'm waiting for the circle to go. I mean, Poro, if we hard shift towards San Martin, I could make a lot of problems for teams. That's exactly what's going to happen. There's a lot of open terrain to the north of San Martin, but now, once again, United and Spicy Fish need to finish this fight out quickly, get into zone. As Flood's going to pop off of heels. There's one last member to find, and it is, I believe, Simply Matt as always. He's always the last one up on this team.
There's a really nice double peek there from Rello and Flood there. Good teamwork coming in from the duo. As it looks like Simply Matt just going to hop into the vehicle and see if he can maybe survive a little bit longer. Get some placement point for the boys. T8, meanwhile, started creeping up off to the north, but they're going to run into Young Kings. Palix takes some damage, but the rest of the boys have a nice little spot here on the cliffs overlooking the city. Sonics has made their way in. You can see on your mini-map. SCG, meanwhile, after leaving E United, crashed inside the city of San Martin as well. Bing Bang Boom holding a 2-2 split on the north side. There's still space for E United to make their way in here, but it's going to be tough. Trogloditas has already made the move into the southern part of Hacienda, where Tokyo Manji Gang is holding on. Roth, meanwhile, trying to hold out Yahoo from pushing in, and good shots coming in from him. Vox actually going to steal that one away, or Nefahor, rather, going to be the one to steal that away, but either way, it's going in the bag of Short Circuit Gaming. So Yahoo taking some big damage here, trying to make a crash into the city.
Yeah, I mean, they're essentially the 4th neighbor to move into the neighborhood, and you can see right now, everybody else wasn't too happy about that. Bing Bang Boom out with the north, continuing to punish Old Liss. Excuse me, Old Liss is punished. It's actually Greg shot all the way from the south of San Martin up on the high grounds. TAC 8 also the high grounds of themselves just to the west, and that is essentially shooting fish in the barrel, which I hate to say, but this is exactly how it's feeling for these teams.
Heck of a shot from Greg Shot. Good work coming in from Wildcard as they're also managing to get some shots into Synergy. As Synergy makes the rotation, there you go, Wildcard getting a nice little stack of kills for themselves, and they have control over the southern part of this circle. Meanwhile, United finally trying to send it in. There is some space to work with around here on the south side of this the city, as Rello going to have to stop down. Snaker's going to send it right on by, but there's buildings here. There's stuff that they can find. It's just a question of how far do they want to go, and it looks like Snaker's just full on sending it.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. Oh no! Ran over himself.
The bounce.
And his teammates aren't anywhere close. You can see Rello's just gonna take an opportunity, see if he can go for it. But this is still risky.
They can. I mean, look at that. Shrimpsy's the only one that's taking shots at him right now. Greg Shot's kind of looking, but not really. And okay, they should be able to get that back up here. Okay, Fiumba now. Rybo going to rejoin his squad as they're trying to hold off the push for 22. You can see they're creeping along that ridge line just to the south of water treatment. Haze 10 being the forerunner here. The rest of the gang hanging off just off to the east under the watchful eyes of Tokyo Manji gang, though, and Dodge just off to the south of them, holding a 2-2 split in the really good compounds, the water treatment circle compounds. Let's see where this next circle is going to go. Okay.
Oh, no.
Dodge looking real nice here, and it looks like, yeah, they're automatically just going to hop in the vehicles and just condense down to one compound here. So hopefully somebody's watching, maybe Young Kings, maybe TAC 8 can see that is available for a quick backfill.
TAC 8 might have had a little line of sight. Palix had gone at an awkward angle. You guys can see they're right to the north. But every time he moves, he's really been punished by Young Kings who've taken shots. And now everybody who opted for San Martin took the risk that this could potentially have been a city finish. Really trying to get themselves to the edge. I mean, a lot of people lost their vehicles. So coming out of this city, that's what's always hard in these situations.
There you go. Quick work from Fiumba. They'll backfill Dodge, and they'll take that compound for themselves. Meanwhile, Flood looks like he got spotted out by Sonics, but they just didn't have the angle to flush the kill. So United going to go for that res, get back up to 3 strong. Sonics, meanwhile, just urban combat scenario, boys. Moving in building by building. Have your volumes turned up loud. Listen for those footsteps. They've got some work to do in front of them here between United, Bing Bang Boom, and the last member of Yahoo, Balefrost. And you also have Wildcard coming in from the south. Now that this circle is shifted away, they've got some work ahead of them as well.
I mean, I'm surprised that 41 people have managed to stay alive throughout this circle, just given how much open space is now surrounding the northern part of this zone. But you can see 22, TAC 8 opted for a very similar position, having to share it. TAC 8 have the compound first. 22 are trying to take this one on foot, just a little bit too slow for the take. Tater now watching the windows. Maybe even see if they could spot themselves and not. They could get some assistance potentially from Fiumba. DraftKings been looking in this direction.
No, I like that. I mean, 22's already got a foothold, so they just kind of sent the rest of the boys over here to this cliffside just to pressure whoever decides to hang out in this compound. T8, meanwhile, there's good scouting. I mean, they spotted out Fiumba making the wrap to the compound that Dodge left, and they're just kind of doing the same thing that they've been doing, playing edge, finding whatever spots that they can to work with, and keeping 4 up to late. Right now, they're doing the same thing, and 22 eventually they'll have to leave this this ridge line and go and join Haven once again. But there's a lot of room on this north side to work with.
Dean Zera, really, as you said, right, watching the ridge line, looking for any opportunity right now. And so far, it really just seems like it is quiet. I mean, again, dialing back to just how careful everybody's wanting to be. That phase 5 shift, though, could either make or break it for some of these teams in the north with a lot of the open terrain. Meanwhile, back down to the south, making or breaking it. Ooh. Adam, out in the middle of the street, finds a knock onto Rusty Zera. 2 more members still up for Troglodytes. Finds a second one. Looks like with help of Waikiki almost taking him out, but gets taken down by a nade from Posa. Wildcard 2 still standing, but there's so many people in the area. Poro, SCG, TMG also want a piece of this.
Yeah, and Dodge is third party in this from way downtown. TMG, like you said, starting to creep out with 2. Looks like Wada is actually going to get spotted out by Necro, but Troglodytes gets eliminated just like that. Adam and Nikos will try to be the last 2 up. They're going to try to find some kind of foothold here. They had Troglodytes were gatekeeping them, and they took a really good fight. Unfortunately for them, they just got third-partied. I mean, there's nothing really you can do about that. And now they're in this spot where they have to try to cross the street, where E United and what's left of SCG is just waiting for them to show their heads. And TMG, look at TMG. They're being so aggressive.
Yeah. And this is the aggressive TMG we saw in group stages, right? Actively being proactive in every opportunity that they can, and that's one of the reasons that they were able to come out so strong in terms of kills and also as placements throughout the game, because they were winning the fights and staying alive. So far this weekend hasn't quite been the case as of right now, sitting into 14th place. But as you called out, I mean, right now this is looking to be a really good position for them. That said, E United have been struggling for a while now.
There it is. Wildcard finally getting eliminated, going out in 12th. It has not been the best weekend for them, but definitely salvageable. They're still hanging around down there, and still within striking distance. So a respectable weekend, all things considered. As we see what these last three from E United can do. H-Win gonna spot out Snaker, sneaks up right on his backside. Rello and Flood now the last two up, and they've got 5 kills already. So regardless of what happens, E United once again getting their money, even in a rough circle like this.
Yeah, 5 kills, 2 still up. There's still plenty of opportunities to continue to put down the points, even if the chicken dinner isn't in the cards for them this final game. But 22, miraculously able to break away from TAC 8 or down to just Hooligan. Now trying to tackle this compound that Dodge has been holding for some time. Dodge, though, going to take care of Dean Zera and have spotted Hooligan. He's out in the blue. There you go. Nice hit. Vinny is actually going to be the one to get credit for that. We could see that fight still with Dodge, just not letting up. Vinny with the Molotov. He is going to go down here, but still an opportunity for safety. Now, especially with Ethan getting taken out. Haston with the nade, but at range.
Nice.
That is it. The last member of Dodge takes down, the member of Dodge takes down the last member of 22.
Good stuff from Dodge there as they hold off the compound push. And unfortunately, we do lose T8 in the process, trying to make their way in from the north side. Gotta say, I'm also Hooligan's gaining a fan in me, man. He's still bolting, and I respect it. And anytime we can get more bolties in comp, I'm all about it. And Hooligan has been rocking those bolties. Oh my God. Okay, well there you go. United finished off. Sonic's going to be the one to do it to them, but Sonics have a little bit of work. You see on that minimap, they got to cross that road, and Bing Bang Boom is looking, and you got Balefrost as well from Yahoo, who at this point, what do you got to lose by trying to spray into somebody crossing that road?
Yeah, and I mean, if they could potentially read that Balefrost is not a full squad in this position, could be a way to go. The issue, obviously, is there's not a lot of coverage between them and Balefrost's building. The better move is to actually go towards the buildings with Bing Bang Boom. It's going to be a shorter cross with more coverage, requiring less smokes and less likely to get taken down. And to say that, Roth landing a headshot onto Mime. Tiggleton not finding an angle just yet on a member to shoot down, and even at range, we could see TMG still a potential threat in this as well. Zealot looking in the direction of Sonic, seeing if he's got an open opportunity to take a shot.
Yeah, they're a little bit downhill, so TMG maybe don't have as much of an angle here. Zealot going to go join him, but Roth going to find H-Win again, as Roth has a beautiful angle on all this. The smoke wall be damned. He's going to hit him and flush him, as Balefrost now going to try to hold his position strong by himself. So Sonics, they've got this smoke wall down, but it's rapidly fading here, and Shrimsy going to take some more damage.
All right, Mime running across the street. It didn't work for H-Win, but there's still a potential to win this one out. All they need to do is take out Balefrost. You can see the mini-map, how big this compound could be in the circle. Beyond that, a lot of open terrain, not much coverage, and a lot of enemies. More crossing of the street, but Balefrost finds his second one. Roth lending a hand. That's everybody but Mine now down on the ground for members of Sonics, as Balefrost looks to steal those kills and secure those points, but still only 3 for Yahoo. Mime, meanwhile, found a little bit of safety along the fence, but he's not going to be able to move from this one so easily. As you can see, he continues to take damage from Bing Bang Boom as he gets up.
You could see it happening in real time on your screen. Those smoke wall, the smokes were just dying out, and the second they did, instant flush or knocks there from Balefrost and Roth. So unfortunate stuff for Sonics there. We'll see what Mime can do as a solo. The man's a dangerous man. There it is. He'll find Colton right off the bat. The rest of TMG, actually Dodge might be stealing this one away from him if he's not careful. Go get your point, buddy. Ooh, never mind.
Oh.
Stay alive. I changed my mind. Just kidding.
so low on the HP. It's one of those times you really look at the players that have the boosters up and just know how huge that can be. But Wade's with the nades again, finds the flush onto Mime. Balefrost had pushed out, tried to steal something from it, but now realizing he's in a dangerous position as well. But with one player up, YOLO, just go straight for it. Tries to see if he can steal something out of this. Tear in some members of TMG. Does pick up the flush onto Colton, stealing the point for himself. 4 now for Yahoo. But the use of throwables, might this be enough? And the kill feed, you can see Fiumba is going to fall here. And if Zealot can get found, that could be it for TMG as well.
Dodge doing a hell of a job on that north side, cleaning out everything. Okay, Wadis will take care of Balefrost. And now Dodge, unfortunately, down to 2, but they've got 10 kills already. The circle does pop back down to the south, so we are going to be, I guess, a city ending, which is kind of weird to say, considering there's just, I mean, we're down to our top 4 teams, but Bing Bang Boom, 3 up. Young Kings, all 4 up. Dodge have to make their way in from the south, and Tokyo Manchi Gang, well, they're alive as long as the smoke wall is going to allow them to be here, as Wadis will try to get rezzed here by Zealot.
It just shows too, I mean, Bing Bang Boom, that position.
8 kills for TM.
This northern spot in San Martin, it kind of took this a little bit earlier on, and as the circle started to pull away, made sure that they had that prime spot. Young Kings taking the power as well means that they've got line of sight on Dodge, who, as we're following along with Finna, we're just going to have to also full send it into zone. Few dips that do exist up here on this edge line. We're still vulnerable to the rest of the players. As you can see, Young Kings do have line of sight, but if they can get to that ridge line real fast, before TMG can crest that corner, they might be able to find some little bit of safety in this open area.
Yeah, Young Kings was kind of playing off to the northwest, and they were keeping eyes on TAC 8, if you remember way back when, and they kind of missed their opportunity to backfill Dodge because of that, and they ended up creeping up and saw Fiumba taking their spot, so instead they creep over here to this little power station where they've just been pretty much able to avoid everything since then. Nothing's really come near them. Nothing's come out of the city just yet, just because of how the circles have worked. So they, I mean, they're the only team left that's sitting on 0 kills. Everybody else, nice little stack for themselves. We'll see if Dodge can get Hikerman somewhere safe here, but no, Zealot's going to be the one that picks him off. Finna's still alive, though. He somehow manages to get, never mind. There you go. He gets Young King's first kill.
Yeah, there you go. And hey, you know what? At least you tried. We knew that this was going to happen. There's so much open terrain, not a lot of avenues to get in safely. But that said, 7 kills, 3 still up. Bing Bang Boom. The biggest threat for them right now is TMG. TMG and Bing Bang Boom sharing the southern part of the zone, all out here on the edge of what's left of the city. You can see Zealot and Wades. If they were to rotate anywhere else except for towards Roth, is just going to completely open them up into the firing line of Young Kings.
I mean, it's such a huge turnaround here in these final 2 games here for Bing Bang Boom. Big points that they've managed to collect in these 2 games on Miramar. And going back to yesterday, their Miramar was bad. I mean, they did not do great on Miramar yesterday. I mean, I think they 13th, 15th, 13th. They managed to get some kills, but they went out super early. And turning things around here today on Miramar. So that's good signs if you're a Bing Bang Boom fan going forward.
Yeah, I mean, just every day they've really progressed further and further up the leaderboard as they found their footing into this. And you talk about finding footing, Roth footing his way up the hill, getting a little bit of damage into Young Kings, not finding a knock, and very careful not to over push this to make himself vulnerable to Zealot, who, at least for the time being, looks to be keeping his head down. He's one of waits for both of these teams to tear into each other, so he has an opportunity as a solo to bring something else to the table here. He's got the placement points, but a few more kill points wouldn't hurt either.
Yeah, Young Kings has I mean, they've got a good position here, but it's still going to be tough to get this win. Now, Roth he's got to be careful, man. Play your life, Roth. You know, I know this man is aggressive. He loves pushing. He loves getting those kills, but you got to be so careful here. If you take that knock, you're going to be giving up a lot of space for Young Kings to make some action here. Good spray from him right off the bat as he's going to pull away there. Make sure you don't get naded. Sharp shot. Be right there with him, landing some good shots there. Like you said, though, Zealot, everybody has to be concerned about him, but for his part, he's just going to sit there. He doesn't really have to do anything.
Yeah, you can see multiple members of Bing Bang Boom are constantly checking that angle. EQs and 1 FPS, that's been their homework, is watching that eastern side to make sure not only that Zealot doesn't come out of that way, but that Keenan or anybody else doesn't wrap and find a surprise angle onto them. So as long as Phase 8 would allow it, Zealot's here. Phase 9 is going to go just south of Young King's compound. And that also means that Zealot's going to run out of time as the circle closes here in 5 seconds.
The problem for Bing Bang Boom is that Young Kings can afford to just sit there using that wall as cover as long as they want. I mean, it's not a great wall, but it's something. And meanwhile, Bing Bang Boom just has to worry about the ridge line. Zealot do a little bit of damage to Cuz here. Looks like he may have spotted him out, and he's one shot away. I'm not sure who was the one that was sprayed into him last time. He gets the heal off, and Young Kings, looks like they spotted off Sharp Shot and Roth, and they've got grenades, though. They've got a lot of utility left that they can use, so that might be...
Oh, there it comes.
That might be the big thing here for Bing Bang Boom.
Zealot tried to make a run for it right as he heard that nade, hoping that both teams were focused instead on each other. It wasn't, though. Ikuz held onto that homework as we had called out, and now can turn his attentions to Sharp Shot.
This.
Bing Bang Boom trying to crest as close as they can to that center game. Keenan hitting a headshot, but it's not enough to take down An1.
I love this from Bing Bang Boom. The offensive smokes. They are just dropping smokes right on top of Young King's head. They're saying you have to come through the smokes to peek us. And there you go, right on. Okay, Psycho gonna find a nice little angle onto Sharp Shot, gets the knock right there, and that's gonna open the door. RDS gonna hop the fence, try to send it back over. Keenan there, and now Roth gonna have to escape into the smokes. He's gonna get one, gonna get the flush, get another point. As the other two pushing through, there you go. Young Kings will clutch it out.
Almost back-to-back wins for Bing Bang Boom, but ultimately Young Kings taking the final victory of the day. And I believe for their second of the weekend. Not a bad showing for LATAM at all. I mean, as you said, they did have the coverage of that power, but they managed to play all the threats around them well to the end game.
I mean, I really liked the idea that Bing Bang Boom had right there. I mean, they had a lot of smokes, and they started to smoke off Young King's position, saying, you know, you have to come through the smokes to peek us. We're not going to smoke ourselves off. You're going to be the ones that have to push through. And I really liked the idea. Young Kings, though, before they were able to get completely smoked off, I think they knew what was about to happen, and they get that first knock, and that just kind of set the ball rolling there. So really good work on them, good response from them before they were kind of put blind by the smoke.
Absolutely. And I, as well, just taking the look not only at that last match, but at the day, we had so much growth on the leaderboard, so much growth from teams that really needed it today. I was really excited to see the return of EU after a bad performance yesterday. Spicy Fish also, after only putting down 11 points yesterday, managed to play a little bit of catch up today with Icy Flex back on the team. So obviously the desk is going to be able to break it down a bit further for us, Poro, but I was really excited to see the performances that we saw today from everyone.
For sure. Well, United's still in the driver's seat. They're still the lead horse. They're still the one that everybody's chasing. And, man, I haven't seen a whole lot of signs of them slowing down just yet, but we have some teams that are starting to pick it up a little bit. So I'm excited to hear what the Analyst Desk has to say about this one to wrap us up for the day. But we are done, so make sure you come back next week. But hang around, see what the Analyst Desk has to say, and wait for that. Oh, I can't wait for the interview. I wonder who they're going to get. Who do you think?
Ooh.
Who's it going to be?
I have an idea.
All right. You have an idea. Well, you're going to keep it to yourself.
I have no idea. I'm excited to see who
she has an idea. I'd like to know.
Send us some information. My name is Thomas, and joined by Matchum and the Cammy D. We are going to break down the action. To be fair, Poro's right. If you need to get off and go take care of the kids or get something to eat, go for it. We're done for the day, but we are going to do some interviews, some highlights, all of that fun stuff. So stick around, hang out with the three amigos as we break it down. In fact, Matt, let's jump right into, ready? Highlights!
I think I did it. Okay. They were dead on. Clover and Poro were talking about this was going to be a slower game, and it definitely was. I think that we can all kind of agree on that. It was a lot of fight whenever you had to based off of the rotation, and specifically in this area, it's got a lot of little hidey holes and like buildings that you could play around, so it supported a lot of teams for a very long period of time, but also led to a lot of a team like United being much more mobile going after these teams than I think that a couple of these other squads were expecting.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think most teams only fought when they had to move to, but you saw teams like United actually try and go a lot more aggressive because they had the space to. They were able to isolate the fight against Spicy Fish. Snakeus, unfortunately, did knock himself as we went into San Martin. And this was a very interesting usage of the city. It didn't end in the city, but there was enough of the city into the late game to allow teams to sort of make their way through it and use it as a pathway without being caught up in the nonsense that is city endings.
Yeah, it wasn't a city ending, but it was just enough to feel like one. Except for what was going on over here to the north, where there was a lot of death to be had. I know, Cam, you and I were talking a lot. Young Kings, BBB, both teams that are really needing some points and potentially going to be trying to assault up the leaderboard whenever we look at everything next week. This got very, very dangerous for Young Kings here, though. I thought that Roth might have been able to spin this, but a good read on it, and shotguns, you know, they have some strength in close-range smoke battles.
Yeah, Roth tried to go for the finish at the end. He knew he was surrounded, and even though the smoke's in play, at some point, teams just start spraying into that, and so he went to go for the confirmation on the kill for that final point to make it to 14, but with the kills that Dodge had, apparently they overtake them in overall points here, but still, at the very end of the day, it is Young Kings at the top with 16 points. Low kill count win, but it's a win nonetheless.
Overall standings, E United ends the day on top at 140, but it's not as big of a gap as it was at the end of day one. Yoho bringing it up with 134. Dodge, Sonics, Bing Bang Boom, Fiumba, and Tactical 8 all very close together in 3 through 7. Young Kings 2 at 101. It may not necessarily be at 100% a two-horse race yet, Cameron, but that middle pack is definitely also pulling away from sort of 9 through 16 at this point.
Yeah, that's the real struggle zone, is that if you're in a team in the bottom, and there are a couple of teams there that we expected to be higher. Troglodytas, Wildcard Gaming definitely is one of them, and then even TMG is a team that a lot of people had their eyes on. They need to start picking it up. I mean, I'd want to say at the previous game. It's going to have to be a slog if they're going to try and get into the top 6 or much less the top 4 from that position.
All right, I am going to take us to our interview, and we're changing it up a little bit. We're getting a new interview in here. It's a team that has caught a lot of people off guard. They brought you in really quickly, Palix. You're going to hear me say this. Subcasters ranked you in at 16 in the power rankings, but you guys came out with a new roster, a 50% change, and it feels like 100% new attitude. You guys are kicking butt. Great job out there.
Thanks, Toffees. I appreciate it. We're just excited to be making these moves that we are. It's what we've worked for. The whole team is just doing it. At the end of the day, everybody's just doing their job.
Looking at the overall leaderboard, you guys have been having a great day, but in this very last game, Bing Bang Boom, Fiumba managed to pick up some points. So 106, 104, you're 103. Young Kings back behind you in 101. So you're in a very, very tight race. How are you guys planning on handling this moving into next week?
I think the biggest thing that we can bring into next week is keeping our consistency. I've been preached that from a couple of old friends in the scene. Just once you get here, keeping a level head, no matter the game that you have, whether you have the huge win that we did today, or we have like the Millie game that we had to where we just got set up on. Playing out of a new spot that we haven't played in before. We're just figuring some of that stuff out. But yeah.
How are you guys able to, I mean, as your first time in the finals, have such a calm head around your positioning? Because it's not like you guys are just staying in one big collective and just trying to rush people down and use a numbers advantage. You guys are actively taking space, and that's something that you can study all you want, but you really have to learn by doing it on the job. But is there like one team or a couple of different people that you've studied in order to prepare for that? Because this is definitely a new level of competition than the phases before.
Definitely. I think a team that does an incredible job of it is EU. The United boys, when they see space, they take it. I think there was a snippet of one of the games, Rello. It was that Everest game that they ended up winning on day one, going and scouting out. I think he went back to Cube and then cleared pretty much the whole side of ruins and gave them a play in to anchor themselves into Everest. So I that's something that I'm trying to bring in to how we play, and I think we're starting to really figure that out. And that's at the end of the day, we're just trying to grow, and that's one of the biggest places that we could see growth in our game.
Awesome. Speaking of growth in your game, I want to ask you, maybe a step away from PUBG, but it also applies for just a second. I know you were a collegiate athlete. I think it was baseball that you played. How did your time in, say, collegiate athletics, like, how do you apply that to your leadership role within the team? Does it cross over at all, or is it a totally different ballgame?
I think it's definitely there's definitely some things that you can bring from playing as a collegiate athlete to bring it into esports. I think a big challenge of it can be your communication and how you communicate to one another. Just being not face to face, I think can take some of the importance, I guess, away from communicating, and just even whether it's inside game or outside game. I think that's the biggest thing that I've brought is just the communication between each other and keeping a level head. I played baseball. So it was quite, it's literally the game of failure. You're a talented baseball player if you go 3 for 10. So I think having a level head also as just preaching that to the guys is important.
Awesome. I like hearing that. I like hearing when you sort of get crossovers between different sports and experiences. Before we let you go, any shout outs or call outs you want to give to the folks at home or maybe another team?
Shout out to T8. Again, all the love from the fans that we're getting. We won that game, and across all of us as teammates, we had like 25 DMs just saying, let's go. All the love is incredible. We're excited to prove our power ranking wrong
Nice.
and just kind of show what we're all about and say that we're here, we're ready.
Awesome. Well, I think I can speak for all of us when I say we're here and we're ready to see what Tactical 8 brings next week as we go to the home stretch. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
You know what I loved, Matt and Cam, about that was his attitude. We'll take a look at the kill leaders, but the way that we even said, hey, you were ranked 16th, and he owned it, smiled about it, and said, we're going to change your minds.
You know, I'm kind of mentally blown away. I never thought of baseball in the way that he described it, and the parallels and how you can use it into PUBG. Like, a lot of people will make the racing comparisons because of how the leaderboards and stuff like that go. But talking about the mental rebound and the strategies that can come around that based off of, baseball having a lot of points where you can fail inside of it, I find to be very interesting. And I gotta say, I'm gonna probably follow up on that. I want to know more.
For sure. Let's take a look at the killers and the damagers real quick, Cameron. Snakers and all of United, and Yahoo playing out of their minds right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure this is overall is not just from one single game. That would be absolutely insane. But coming into this event, I don't know if it was coming into like this round of the event. It could have been for the qualifiers as well. But Snakers was saying, like, listen, I'm sick of having Kickstart carry us. I'm sick of having Flood carry us. I want to go back to his words, crackhead Snakers from the earlier part of 2020 that we all remember. And he's not immediately shooting back up there, but we saw a couple of signs of that today where Snakers is really stepping it up and starting to give United an extra gear on top of where we didn't know they had it, but maybe it is there.
It's those old Snakers moments, right? Like him running over the two players with the car, some of his egregiously hubris peaks that work out. Like these are the things that sort of made us fall in love with Snakers in the first place 5 years ago when this whole thing started. Guys, that is it for today. We're back next weekend with the second half, so you got to make sure you're here. I will be turning over the chair to Matrim, so he has the responsibility of taking you through it while I relax.
Oh, boy.
Sip drinks on the lake and watch the games play out. It's going to be amazing. But before we go, I got to have final thoughts. Cameron, what do you think?
I'm really glad that we have BBB back into the mix because this is the team that has such great pedigree on the individual players. They've been teasing us with trying to break into the top notch of North American or even just American PUBG for a while. So hopefully they can stay up there and make the triple, what would we call it? The Three Kings? I made this up. Why did I forget it? The Three Kings into four.
Three Kings. Yep, the Three Kings into four aces.
Yeah, I just gotta say, I'm loving the fact that we're seeing so much diversity in teams and strengths all the way. I would say when we look at our leaderboard, the top half of it still has a lot that can be played out moving into next week, and I want to see who takes this week, reflects the best, brings it back in, because we know that whenever we talk about like our big study teams, some of them aren't here, so there could be some doors open given how much studying you can pull out and really come in after doing your homework and climb that leaderboard.
Absolutely. ESL PUBG Masters offers the chance for players to take that half play, go reset, and come back stronger. I can't wait to see what happens next week. Guys, that is it for today. We love you. We appreciate you spending your evening with us. On behalf of myself, Matchroom, Cameron, Clover, Porosaurus, Godspeed, everyone at Craft and PUBG, as well as ESL, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And until we see you next week, play more PUBG.